And he can run too. Both of those guys can. Joc Pederson, Josh Bell, Lourdes, Gurriel Jr.'s in left field. Del Castillo does the catching. He's just up in the minor league. Suarez has been around a while. Diorme at second base.
What's going on, everybody? John here with you. It's a Friday, August 23rd, 2024. We're in beautiful Fenway Park in downtown Boston. And it's going to be a good matchup here for you because we have the Arizona Diamondbacks, 72-56, manager Torey Lovullo, and Boston Red Sox bench boss Alex Cora, 67-59 on the season. And I was just listening to some of the stuff on NESN before we went on the air here, in the sense of coming in from the All-Star break. You got both of these teams essentially first, second, or third in the mix in between slugging percentage, average, home runs, and run scoring. Again, you do have a pretty good pitching matchup today with Ryan Nelson and Brian Bayo. And they're very capable, but the way that these offenses are running right now kind of makes you think that we're going to see some run scoring here today. That's kind of where I'm at right now. It's at 77 degrees right now with the first pitch, humidity about 36%. So it's a beautiful day for baseball. I'll have this one here for you on this Friday. And then Sunday, I will be joined by Alec Nava when we do Sunday Night Baseball from ESPN. I think that one is going to be the Astros and the O's. So that should be a good one as well. So as they get some of these first tosses in, and Bayo's going to step on the rubber here, we'll just leave you with the lineup. Corbin Carroll is going to lead off right field. Jake McCarthy in center. Joc Pederson, the DH today. Josh Bell first. Lourdes Gurriel in left. Adrian De Castillo, the young catcher who's been on a tear. He's batted sixth. And then Suarez, Guillorme, and Geraldo Perdomo will be 7, 8, 9. And of note, you have left, switch to start in the sense of it. So the handedness will be in favor of the Diamondbacks. Got a lot of lefties today. That's what teams like to do, is stack. You get a 95-mile-an-hour fastball right past the second baseman of a diving David Hamilton, and run your way is the very fast Corbin Carroll, already on base at the first pitch swinging. So good start here for the Snakes. First pitch swinging there, right in on a sinker essentially, because the fastball, I believe, is a little bit uptick as far as the miles per hour. That was a 94-mile-an-hour sinker from Bayo that was shot right back up the middle. We go back down to where Bayo is. Again, around 97-86. He tops into the fastball. First pitch swinging again. And this one's going to get to the middle infield. So staying at second will be Corbin Carroll. He could have probably tested it, but 2 pitches, 2 base runners, 2 hits. This one is a sinker just off the outside toward the right side of the box, and that's just hit past the shifted infield again. So David Hamilton and Cedane Rafaela, they got a ton of speed. They couldn't get to either one of those. So first 2 on at the first 2 pitches there, and Joc Pederson tried to see if he could take the third pitch out of the ballpark over the Green Monster. Who knows? With the way this is going, I haven't been able to give you the stats. It's been going so quick. We'll do that the next go-around for Corbin and Jake. So Joc Pederson, 292, 20 bombs, 58 RBI. That's 88 on a changeup. This ball one. Today it's going to be Danny Jansen, the battery, out there with Bayo. He was the pickup from the Toronto Blue Jays. So sinker, change, slider, 4-seam. That's what I got according to Baseball Savant. That's what he's going to feature today is Bayo. This one spiked in the dirt off the changeup, 2-0. So first 2 batters reached on base hits from second and short. And now Pederson's got a 2-0 count in his favor as Alex Cora looks on. Again, we are just underway here. Saturday in the win against the Orioles, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, and earned run, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, 97 pitches. Very efficient, very good. Bayo down to 1, and he lets 95 go up high. 3-0 now on Joc Pederson. Again, I know we're just underway here. We just got started about 3 minutes ago. But the way that this is going here, Arizona can win this game in the first inning if they get something big. So Josh Bell, I'm going to have to take the donut off his bat. It's 3-0 against Joc Pederson, 6-game hitting streak. He's hitting 429 in this stretch. 3-0. Way outside, not close. Bases loaded, 6 pitches into Bayo's day. 6 pitches into Bayo's day. The Boston Red Sox already in trouble. Bases loaded, top 1, no outs. And now everybody is going to get out on the mound and have a confab because Josh Bell could absolutely make this a 4-0 game before the first out is even recorded. And yes, I'm saying it this way. We got a whole game to go, and I know the voice pipes and everything else would be sharp. Might be a good idea taking the day off tomorrow anyway, and then getting set for Sunday on Sunday Night Baseball, where this could be. And if you're the Red Sox, let's say you give up a crooked number before you get even out to the bat rack, you can't get demoralized either because you got the whole game in front of you. So Josh Bell, former Cleveland Guardian, Pittsburgh Pirate. He's got the bases juiced in the first. That's a good pitch on a slider. Just caught the outside black. 237, 714 OPS, 18 bombs, 59 RBI for Josh. As he's mixed in between Miami this year. 0-1. Swing and a miss on a changeup. Big pitch there for Bayo. That was outside, low in the zone, and Bell went after it. He was going golfing there. He knew what he wanted to do. So 0-2 count. If Bayo could get out of this with a strikeout, double play, or a strikeout, maybe just give up 1 run here. He's got no outs, top of the first with it juiced. 0-2. What's he going to do here? This is spiked way in the dirt on changeup. Doesn't spit on it all in Bell. You have Lourdes Gurriel Jr. batting 5th, due up next. Even if Josh Bell hits into a double play, you won't get credit for an RBI, but Arizona would score the first run. It's 1-2. Way inside on a slider toward the back foot. Make it 2-2. So Brian Bayo, 10 pitches into his day, with the bases loaded and nobody out. All these will be pressure pitches right from the jump. See how that takes gas out of the tank. Way high. Nowhere to put anybody. It was an 0-2 advantage count. And now it's 3-2. So you got to go with your best pitch here. And what normally it would be is a sinker. And that would allow you to get something in the dirt there, try to get a ground ball, kill some worms. And that's fouled straight back right from Danny Jansen's glove. So we'll stay right here. 3-2. 12 pitches into Bayo's day with the bases juiced and nobody out to start it. John Under with you at the NESN feed. We're at Fenway Park in Boston. Young Brian Bayo trying to tightrope walk his way out of this. Spiked into the dirt, and that's going to give a bases loaded walk. Just a nightmare start here for Bayo. And Alex Cora is going to have to continue to lead on here. You don't want to make sure you go to a bullpen day too early. You got to give him a couple innings. Got to find a way to get out of this. At this point, with 1 run in, bases loaded, nobody out, the 5th batter already up. If Bayo can get this with 3 runs or less, I think you have to take it. So Gurriel's got a lot of pop. And that 86 slider will just split the plate. So for Lourdes, 274, 15 bombs, 65 RBI, 61 runs scored, 22 walks, 93 strikeouts. Steady production for him. This is a slider, pop-up foul, make it 0-2. It was the same 2 pitches. That one a little bit more toward the right corner. First slider kind of cut the middle of that plate. Career with bases loaded is 415 for Lourdes, but it's up against it 0-2. Josh Bell was as well, but he drew a walk. So we'll see what happens if Bayo can actually keep his vice grip down and the foot down. Take advantage of this count. 95, fly ball. This would be a can of corn toward Abreu. We'll see if the runners want to go. McCarthy on his horse, and the ball is dropped. So Arizona's going to score the run. That throw was pretty good there for Wilmer Abreu. It might have been held on there for Danny Jansen. I think he might have had a chance to get the out. But as it is, runners at first and third still 1 out. That was a bomb from Abreu. I wouldn't say shallow right field, but that was pretty close. And Danny Jansen just couldn't hold on to that baseball in the glove. He's trying to throw that across and apply the tag, and it popped right out. Otherwise, you could have maybe had a double play there. Pretty good throw from Abreu nonetheless. Runners are first and third, and it's going to bring up Adrian De Castillo, a 24-year-old. Again, Gabby Moreno still on the 10-day IL. He will be coming back. He's been dealing with some injuries. Castillo has been on fire, though, since his call-up. 361. It's just 10 games, be as it may, but an OPS of 1,092, 3 home runs and 14 RBI. Grand Slam's going to inflate those RBIs. He's already got one to his name. 0-1. This is grounded. This will go foul. Bale wanted it to stay in play. It will not. As this first inning is going to start to get a little long here for Bale, but again, as we said, if you can kind of cut this with 3 runs, considering where they were, I think the Red Sox would take it. Still got a whole baseball game to play, but even though I said there would be runs scored, probably a lot more than even I would have expected at this point, especially from the way it started. 0-2 again. And we'll see if Bale can this time make something happen. Toward the face of Castillo, 96 4 seam. He's going to have to peel back. So when I looked at Baseball Savant for Bale, when he throws the fastball, he normally throws that outside the zone. It's not for a strike. We've seen it enough now where I think all these teams will catch up to that and understand it. Again, 95, 2-2. If Bale could start to command that fastball in terms of the sinker, cutter, slider that he features, I think it would serve him a lot better. I think that's the one thing for Bale that really would be a bugaboo to me is his control. 2-2. Pitch clock down to 1. This one fouled. It was going to be a ball anyway, a changeup. Would have been another 3-2 count, but as it is, 2-2. And another one from 0-2 almost to a full count. So keep that in mind, as when he's had to leverage, he hasn't been able to put anybody away just yet. Keep showing Torey Lovullo. Again, he was on the Red Sox staff in 2016. It's his first time back since. Way outside and a changeup. 3-2 again. This score is telling these guys to shift in the middle infield, trying to anticipate for a double play. Red Sox need this badly. Most wins by manager in Arizona history, 567 for Torey Lovullo. He's going to be the bench boss for a long time, I would imagine. Full count. This is a diving stop for David Hamilton, right in the infield on a sinker and right into his glove. And that's going to make the runners stay right where they are. Joc Pederson was tethered to third base. That was hammered right to Hamilton toward the second field gap, maybe almost toward the end of the bat, but that was hit hard. Hamilton makes a great jump, able to get that one right into his glove. And I'll leave it up to Eugenio Suarez. So 230 average for Eugenio, former Mariner, former Tiger, Cincinnati Red. He's been around a little bit everywhere. Still got the pop. This one hit very hard toward Devers. He makes the play from third to second for Hamilton. Great defense for the Red Sox. They only surrender 2. Sparkling plays for Hamilton and Devers. And the damage is very limited. Come right back. Bottom 1.
Right now, low-qualified lessees can lease the 2024 Fiat 500e for $299 a month. In 16 years, Greg Gerstner will land the perfect candy with beauty all around now, and ADLP always goes through the demands to help make sure his customers lives as long as he does. The younger you are, the more beauty ADLP.
Popeyes have the best of both worlds. Our juicy chicken is marinated to perfection with 2 distinct tastes on all 6 flavors. Whether you prefer our spicy bone-in wings or our classic tender white meat boneless wings, we've got the best of both. To everyone out there who loves Culver's,
The feeling is mutual. Everything's made fresh.
everything.
It's our pleasure. This is me. And I have the best. I wouldn't trade Culver's for any other restaurant. Culver's. We love our pets.
Counter, the hitters allowed to brought to you by Plymouth Rock. Duran the Brave passes 1-2-3. Wrapping up the fourth spot. Rush Snyder tonight left. Rashida Jansen, Hamilton, and Raphael. Taking on a right-hander by the name of Ryan Nelson. Diamondbacks starting pitcher presented by PNC Bank. 8 wins, 6 losses, 4.35 ERA. And since July 1st, he's 3-0 with a 2.73 earned run average. And throwing the ball really well.
So let's get back into it here. This pitch from Jarren Duran is going to go off the wall. Gurriel's got to play from up. Duran's got great speed. Here's the throw toward left, and Guillorme can't hold it. So Duran already has a double. We said we might see some run scoring in this game. We've already seen some offense here for the Diamondbacks. They got 2. Maybe they should have had more. A 96-mile-an-hour sinker toward the bottom of the zone, and Duran stays low, gets the bat head on it, and drives it toward left field. And he's got jets as he flies into second base on a slide. Beautiful play there for Jarren Duran. His 40th double of the season. As this 96 4-seam and a little bit low for Wilmer Brady. They could blow 1. So Duran already on second base, and the Red Sox trying to answer right back from Arizona's couple of runs. Hopefully I'll be able to keep my voice all the way through. But if they keep these cough drops handy. As 94 4-seamer again. This is low. Abreu has a 2-0 hitters count. So let me get back up into my notes, because again I was typing everything up for Arizona as they got a couple of runs. Wilmer, 126 career games. This one hit very hard toward the wall. This will bounce off the monster. Duran's going to score. Abreu gets an RBI double, and it's 2-1 now. Very hard hit baseballs. Again, it was the 2 singles that got past Rafaela and David Hamilton at the top of the first, and now these ones have been blasted toward left field, and then 95 split the plate. You can't do that, as that one's driven right off that giant green wall, and now it's 2-1, and the Red Sox, again, we talked about it, coming into this game between the D-backs and the Dirty Water Sox here, 27 double for Abreu. These teams are scoring tons of runs since the All-Star break, first, second, third, fourth, in terms of run scoring, home runs, slugging percentage on base. Offense is driving the play for both of these teams. Tristan Casas is back from the rib fracture. He's at first. This one driven. This will go out of play, though. Again, another 4-seam at 97. Since his return from IL, just 6 games. 8 for 23, 4 RBI, 346 average. 28 games played on the season, 267 in totality with 7 of 14. Still 24 years of age for Tristan. Ooh, he cued that one off the bat. That was going toward his face. Self-defense. Knocks him on his heavily padded wallet. He'll get back up. That was right toward the dome, as he had to throw that one out with a cue shot off his bat. I don't blame Tristan there. Anything going toward the face, you got to just get out of that. So that brushed him off the plate. We'll see if anything comes of it. Rafi Devers batting cleanup. We'll be due up next. Runner at second. That is Wilmer Abreu. This one will go right toward Gurriel. Barely had to move. That was hit hard. It'll make the catch. As it'll be Wilmer Abreu still tethered to second. Rafi Devers, cleanup man, is due up next. For Rafi, 27 years of age now. Again, it feels that we've been talking about him forever. 294 average, 27 bombs, 77 RBI, 80 runs scored, 55 walks, and 119 strikeouts for the Rafi Bomb. He is one of the most consistent hitters that we've had in all of baseball. He still remains so. Step out. get a chance to go ahead and do it again. Calling balls and strikes is Nick Lentz behind the dish today. And Red Sox favorite line is -125. That's cued. Right to the second baseman, no problem. Toss over from Guillorme, right to Bell. And that will move Wilmer to third. But it'll be a productive out. And I'll leave it up to Rob Refsnyder as the last hope in the bottom one. We'll see if the Red Sox can tie this one back up, or it'll be a one-run deficit. But a couple of hard-hit doubles in toward the left field line and off the wall for, let me look at this again in the notes, in the sense for Ryan Nelson, as Refsnyder takes inside. You have a four-seam, which is predominant in the cutter, but a four-seam predominant, well over 57%. Mix in a changeup, slider, curve, and sweep. 95 to 77 MPH differential. Hit toward Perdomo. Easy toss to Bell. And this will retire the Red Sox in bottom one, but they do get a run back. 2-1.
We've been serving West Michigan's automotive needs since 1925. Start shopping online at BurgerStudy.com. In 16 years, Greg Gerson will land the perfect candle. With friends he's already made now, and AARP volunteering to community events. They'll make sure his happiness lives as long as he does. The only new MLB AARP.
I'm a bee that bubbled my way into your car. Let's say. And if you don't have the right auto insurance coverage, pay for this can really stick. So get all day. To everyone out there who loves golfers,
The feeling is mutual. Everything stay fresh.
everything.
It's our pleasure. This is me and my happy place. I wouldn't trade our Culvers for any other restaurant. Culvers, we love our guests.
Much as our guests love us.
This is my happy place.
From Wisconsin with love.
Top of the second here at Fenway Park. Red Sox getting one back in the bottom half. Tom Carroll with the down on the field.
So let's go top two. It'll be Guillorme, Perdomo, and then we'll swing back up to Corbin Carroll, as will be the first time through the order here already at the top of the second. Good sinker there, top side of the zone. And Torey Lovullo, they're showing him taking batting practice. Pretty good swing there on this side as we're watching this one from the NESN feed, as former Red Sox on the staff, but now the bench boss for the Diamondbacks, having some fun. He acted as the interim manager for 48 games in 2015. Torey Lovullo seems to be a very popular guy among the players, and he says the right things and does the right things. Guillorme. He'll make a jam shot swing, but Duran's got a ton of speed. He'll catch it up there off the changeup. One up, one down. I'm going to leave it up to Roldo Perdomo before we switch over. Shortstop, still very young, 24 years of age. He's a switch hitter there. Looks pretty good on defense. Got a pretty good speed percentile as well. And again, I didn't get a chance to get to this because the hit started fast and furiously, but keep this in mind, though, for the Snakes, as Perdomo shows bunt. Good slider there as a strike on the inside. But they're still without Christian Walker and Ketel Marte. Again, they're on the 10-day IL right now, but they're going to be returning soon. 95 on a sinker on the inside, making 0-2. Those are really good pitches, trying to jam Perdomo there. So you're without Walker and Marte. And then you got Blaze Alexander, Jordan Lawler, and Jorge Barosa in the minors. So Diamondbacks have a lot of good players that are still really having a sniff service time. A couple of stars, especially superstar Ketel Marte, that they're going to be getting back into the lineup there. And Christian Walker does provide the power and defense at first base. This is a pitching staff that's elite. You added Jordan Montgomery. You added Eduardo Rodriguez from the Tigers in a 4-game lead over Atlanta and the wild card, who was just bereft of injury left and right. San Diego's tied with them at the best record coming in for the wild card spot, at least at 72-56. I believe the Diamondbacks have the best record since the break, from what they talk about, all the run scoring as well. So they're still making Bale work. He's going to request some new seams on that baseball. John Eder with you on a Friday night, and I'm glad to be here. It's been a while since I've been able to cover a game. I've been so darn busy with everything else at MIS and some Shark stuff and some other obligations. I want a chance to sit down and cover some baseball. A swing and a miss right to the changeup is Perdomo, and we'll go through the order. So Bale trying to bounce right back through and get a 1-2-3. He's going to have to deal with the pretty electric Corbin Carroll. So for Corbin, average down a tad at 222. Again, kind of more of a, you want to say sophomore slump. Again, toward the first part of the service time just last year. Probably a third year here for Corbin Carroll. 88 does not get the call on a changeup. 14 bombs, 51 RBI. Still got 21 stolen bases with 55 walks. 96 strikeouts. 96. I think the control has been a little bit better here for Bale in this inning, but it is 2-0. As this will be an opportunity here for Bale to throw another pitch. 87 on a changeup. Perfect location. Bottom portion of the box on the inside. So that is something, if you're the D-backs, pay attention to. A lot of these pitchers trying to get jammed in on the left side. See if they can get their hands to it and drive the baseball. And that's what Carroll did. Toward right field, it's not deep, and this will be caught. And toward the right-hand side, no problem there for Bale. Quick 1-2-3. He needed that. Let's go bottom two. Snakes up 2-1.
When you're ready to buy your next vehicle, come to Berger. We've been serving West Michigan's automotive needs since 1925. Start shopping online at BergerChevy.com.
In 16 years, Greg Gersner will land the perfect cannonball. With fans he's already
I think when we get toward the 6 or 7, I'll go ahead and give you some scoring updates around the diamond. Appreciate anyone else that does join in. I know there's a lot of other places you can be on a Friday night, so it's probably just going to be me by my lonesome, but that's all right. I do need the reps. I will join Sunday from the start of first pitch with Mr. Alec Nava for Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. I think that's going to be the Astros and the Orioles at about the same time, about a 7:10 start. I think Alec is usually about 15 minutes before that, so he'll give you some pregame, and I'll join you right in progress from his space before first pitch. So 6, 7, and 8 hitters, as NESN has Roger Clemens in the booth from 84 to 96. He pitched with the Red Sox. But 6, 7, and 8, Yoshida, Danny Jansen, and David Hamilton due up here for the Sox. Yoshida, this is an uppercut, but this is Deep right field. They caught by Corbin Carroll, just a few steps shy of the track. 7-time Cy Young Award winner. Again, I'll just throw this out there again. It's a steroid era. You can say whatever you want about guys like Roger Clemens, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, some of the other pitchers, if you want to throw that in there. Incredible players with or without the use of performance enhancing, and Roger Clemens was an absolute beast. I have to throw it out like that. As 95 on a fastball, and Hamilton did not get the ball call as he was out there taking some talks and throwing some pitches there. As Jansen looks in, this is bounce back off the fourth seam straight toward the wall. So I'm going to try to do this play-by-play as I talk about, but they are showing Roger Clemens throwing some BP there across to some of the Red Sox prospects, which is pretty cool. Anytime you get a chance to say that, I mean, you know that's Hall of Fame territory, really. 91. That should be 0-2. Oh, wow. That should have been strike 3. Again, I had to mix in between what they were showing on the TV side of the highlights. I apologize. Jansen gets a ball call on a pitch that was inside. Nelson really should have had that one. It was a good pitch. Now 96 doesn't matter. Blown away with the fastball. So took one extra pitch there, and Nelson still got his punchy. And it'll be 2 up, 2 down quickly here. And I'll leave it up to Ceddanne Rafaela. So curious to me. And again, I will know what the answer is, but I just want to throw this out there to you nonetheless. For Ceddanne Rafaela is batting 9th. 264, 13 bombs, 61 RBI, 63 runs scored, 15 walks, 115 strikeouts. You can steal bases, as this one is a shallow toward the left. No problem there for Lourdes. Makes the catch. The reason why he's down in the bottom of the order is because he gets production. But that was a quick 1, 2, 3 for both of these starters, and they shook off the first. Let's go to the third. It's 2-1 Diamondbacks.
This summer is the perfect time to get away. Regain one of your favorite Sunday bottles. All backed by America's best protein. Just 10 years over 2,000 miles. Complimentary maintenance. Add more joy to your journey. Torey is the Sunday getaway salesman. But that's back. The hottest deals in the summer roll back. Get in and get away now. Lease the Tucson for $209 a month. Or get 1.99% APR for 60 months. Hurry into the Sunday getaway salesman. Whether you prefer our spicy bone-in wings or our classic tender white meat bones, we've got the best of both. To everyone out there who loves golfers,
The feeling is mutual. Everything stay fresh.
everything.
It's our pleasure.
This is me and my happy place.
I want to order Culver's or any other restaurant.
You throw this in here as far as anyone keeping up with the box.
Wisconsin with love. Lots of oil or nothing but trouble, you see. Why not use 30% less water with clean and smart seed? The Bush Stream and Smart. Let no-brainers be.
Just complimenting Mayo and the work that he did to minimize the damage there in the first inning. We'll walk back to him. McCarthy with one single. That was on right there. That was on.
So we just jumped back in from the NESN feed, and right as I was getting some updates in the YouTube part of the box, we had a bunt from McCarthy. And again, it took Bale a little bit to get out there, and Jake's got one of the highest parts of speed, probably on the 95 percentile as far as where they put it. Easy for him to get a base hit and that went off a bunt, so he's already 2 for 2 with a single and a bunt base hit. So that should set up things pretty nicely here. Both Nelson and Bayo had a quiet second inning, but it's still 2-1 Arizona. As Pederson will drive this one toward the right field line foul. And we'll do it again. Bayo 40 pitches into his day. Again, NESN is interviewing Roger Clemens on this side, so I'm mixing that in between my call in the sense of it, if anything else is shown up there from what they've shown up the camera cuts. This is hit towards center field, off the plate. Duran, he's on the track, makes the catch, and will drive McCarthy back to first. So wild out there. Pederson hit it hard. It was off the plate, off the sinker there. He drove it pretty well. But now there is one out with McCarthy at first off a bunt base hit. Jonathan with you, I got the NESN feed. We're in beautiful Fenway Park in Boston. Shouldn't have any threats with the weather today. I know sometimes in the sense of it, I kind of go for dome stadiums as far as getting anything together because we don't have to deal with weather. But I don't think we have anything to worry about today in the sense of it. As Bell take ball one. Again for Josh Bell. Bases loaded, walk, and an RBI. So not a bad way to start the ball game for Josh. As he takes ball one in the second at bat. Off the changeup. This is off Joc McCarthy, and I don't know if I've ever seen this before. I know, at least not during an active play-by-play. So the ball gets hit from Bell, it strikes McCarthy, and I believe the way that is, the runner's out. So the Red Sox are going to take that one as it hits McCarthy in the leg, in the right leg. A little unfortunate. If Cooper Hopkins was with me and on the broadcast would say, you know what? We've seen everything, and I've just seen everything there. So runner out. My goodness. So Bell hits it right at McCarthy, runners out, and now toward the left field side and do it again. It's a sinker, followed across the line, and Lourdes Gurriel. Sac fly, RBI in the first. The chance in the throw would have been pretty close there, but it was not picked up there by Danny Jansen off the transfer. That's why Arizona scored their second run. So sac fly for the number 5 batter in the lineup for Torey Lovullo's squad. This one hit late on a sinker. This will go back in toward the seats. Folks behind home plate. Glad you can join me here today for this one. I'm glad to be here. Again, today and Sunday, on the days that I have planned here. Already got the confirmation to be able to work with Alec Nava for Sunday Night Baseball. Looking forward to that one as well. 45 pitches in the Bayo's day. If he can get through this right now, considering how it started, I think he would definitely take it. 2 outs, runner on first. And he didn't offer. He thought about it, but he was able to hold the bat back on a slider. That one was yanked way out of the zone nonetheless. So Kevin Youkilis, he's doing the color stuff right now as they're going across, still talking with Roger Clemens. I think he's going to sit in for this entire third because second was very short. No problem here for Sedan. Makes easy toss to David. And there was a hit for McCarthy off the bunt. Bell hits McCarthy with the baseball off of the hit, and that's where it stands. So just a single, no more, as Diamondbacks go quiet.
We've been serving West Michigan's automotive needs since 1925. Start shopping online at BurgersChevy.com.
All the parts you need, prices. Guaranteed to fit every time. So you can keep your life. Our institution is dedicated to perfection with 2 distinct twists on all 6 flavors. Whether you prefer our spicy bone-in wings or our classic tender white meat boneless wings, we've got the best of both. To everyone out there who
Arizona hit 2-1. They were right alongside Kevin Youkilis. And Tom Carroll with us all weekend.
So bottom three, Red Sox up to the dish. Sedane Rafaela will get a chance to lead this one off here in bottom three. And then we'll go back to Duran and Abreu, who both had doubles. Rafaela got a 96, as this one was slapped down the middle. That was foul. Rookie ranks fourth in average, 264, third in hits, 118, fifth in extra base, 36, RBI, 61. He's had a star-studded year, 95. And again, the power here for Nelson, that one was fouled back. 61 RBI, pretty good here for a rookie, 13 bombs as well. So he's got the flash, he's got the speed to play infield, outfield. He could do it all, really. Great player, still very young. As this one is fouled back. Castro can't hold it. And we'll keep this one alive here at 1-2. 23 years old. Again, 15 walks, 115 strikeouts. That might be the only thing you can say, but usually that's where rookies are at right there. Don't see the ball as much, might try to swing big. I think that will be leveraged. This one in toward the hands, keep it quick enough to stay alive. Still 1-2. Jaron Duran's going to be next. Again, they mentioned it with Kevin Youkilis, and I agree with him completely. If you have a weakness in the outfield, you plug in Sedane right there. There's no problem. If he's playing, he's either in the infield or the outfield. Shortstop, center field is about as premium as it gets in both positions. That and the slider, way down low. And they'll stay at 2-2. So Youkilis says he likes him at short. I wouldn't mind him on either side. He's got the speed anyway. He's got the arm as well. So when he's got the arm of an outfielder at short with the accuracy, I mean, that really makes you a five-tool threat. He's got speed to steal as well when he gets on. 97. That's going to be Perdomo. He'll waft off the toss right to Bell. Good play there because Rafi's got some speed. And no problem. As Duran will be due up next, and we'll breeze through that order. So Jaron Duran 1 for 1 with a double. Jaron Duran is another one of those good-looking younger players on the side for the Red Sox. Sedane's 23, Duran's 27. Again, the All-Star is batting 293, 64 RBI, 17 bombs. They get his 40th double. He's already got a run scored on the season already. There really isn't anything he can't do. His pitch clock's down to 5. And a changeup gets spiked in the dirt, but good block. 1-1 here for Jaron Duran. Again, as we talked about, 88 runs scored, 46 walks, 128 strikeouts. Does have a tendency to get big, but 32 stolen bases. Nothing to sneeze at all. 91, a cutter in on the hands. Nowhere close as he keeps it 2-1. Again, if you give him a chance to drive this baseball anyway, he turns singles into doubles, no problem. So that's definitely the issue that you can have for Arizona's defense. It doesn't matter who you have out there. You're not going to be able to contend with it. This one, his bat broke, I believe. That's where we saw a piece of the splinter of the wood in toward the part of the track. As they're showing Jaron Duran off his doubles spray chart. And these are mostly toward right center field in the mix of center, couple off the wall, as he laces it more toward the right center left field line. I think that's fair. Anything extreme right, there's only a few, so he's kind of in that same spray chart. He does use most of the field, but the extreme all the way on one side to the right, he's only got 3 of those for his 40 doubles. As he gets a new piece of pine, His series against the Astros, how about that? 6 for 10, 2 doubles, 2 bombs, and 3 RBI. 600 batting average from the last time against the Astros. 97. And Perdomo will get rid of it quickly. Again, you had to do that with Rafaela and Duran as you go from 9 to 1. Ton of speed in that part of the lineup there for Alex Cora. Wilmer Abreu will be the last hope bottom 3. I guess the one thing for me that is good is saving the pipes a little bit, because after the first started, we weren't quite sure the way that was going to go. So Wilmer waiting for his at-bat. Down to 5 seconds. First pitch will swing off the curve, and that one is foul. 0-1. Again, the ESPN counter that I'm watching across the ESPN feed had their part of the inning already done, and it wasn't done. So I have to make sure I don't get ahead of myself. Just call it as I see it. 82 on the changeup, misses high toward the right side of the box. Nothing wrong with Nelson's velocity. He's one of those guys right now, looks to be the top side of 95, and he wants to set up that breaking ball when he can, but you got to be able to get in the zone consistently. 91, good cutter. That was probably his best pitch of the day. That was in on the hands, and that was close to the bat path. That's why Abreu wanted to swing at it, but there's no chance for him to get to it. 1-2. Tristan Casas, should Abreu reach, would be next. 1-2 count. Bottom 3 at Fenway Park in Boston, Mass. Pitch clock down to 5. 96 way outside. Will Castro toss this one back. 36 pitches into Ryan Nelson's day. This is just trying to get those night lights on right now in Boston. This splits the plate, and Perdomo tries to lunge for it. That would have been a tough play anyway. And it was 86 dead center cut on a changeup. And I think Nelson will take the fact that he only gave up a single there, as this one was a shot right back at the middle of second base. Perdomo really tried to make a good effort of it. Actually hit the left side of his glove, but it will be a single. So Tristan Casas will get another opportunity here. So Abreu 2 for 2, double and a single. Tristan Casas will take the first pitch cutter and follow down the right field line, make it 0-1. He's 0 for 1 with the line out so far to start this game. Again, as we said, just his 29th game coming into today to deal with a rib fracture. I believe it took him out for over a month. But still a young prospect that they like at 24. Again, we talk about it going into the Boston Red Sox for this season in 2024. Nobody expected them to even compete alongside the AL East, let alone even being for a wild card spot. They're only 3.5 games out entering today, so anything is possible. But you just played the Houston Astros and now the Diamondbacks. This is a chopper toward third, and there is no play. That was hit so slowly there. By the time Suarez went to try to run and cut it off, that was another single. So still 2 outs. That was not hit hard at all. And that might have been purposely, according to Dave O'Brien. He might be right there. As far as running toward his right, having then try to throw left. No chance to do that on the run. It's probably better to eat it anyway. He thought about the jump throw. He got into the animation, if you want to call it that, to see what he wanted to do, to take a look at it, but nothing there. So Rafi Devers. It's got 2 out, 2 on. First and second, it's Casas and Abreu, respectively. Rafi Devers 0 for 1. A single might tie this game, considering the speed that they have on base. Rafi hitting .294 with 27 jacks on the season. Devers waiting on the 1-0. Make it 2-0. 96 on the 4-seam as Eduardo Rodriguez looks on. 2015-21 with the Red Sox, he was pretty good. 4.16 ERA, 64-39 record. When he was on, he was really on. That's what you know about Eduardo Rodriguez. 2-0 against Devers. What do they do here? And he almost freezes Devers, but Devers had the eagle eye all the way. 3-0. There was 2 outs with nobody on for Nelson. Looked like he might cruise to the third, and the Red Sox said hold all tickets. 3-0 for Devers. Ball 4. Not even close. They did not want to tempt fate. Bases loaded with Sox. And pitching coach comes out here for Snakes to go ahead and check on Nelson, make sure what they want to do. Again, if you want to go ahead and go after Rob Refsnyder, that would probably make sense. He's been a career journeyman. I think he's from Seoul, South Korea. But 294 average. He's always been a hit for average type of guy. That's exactly what you want to do in this part of play. He's only struck out 65 times in 79 games. He's got 26 walks. So this is a giant at bat here for Rob. And an opportunity here where a single probably gives the Red Sox the lead, considering with the bases juiced. It was an opportunity for Bayo to only give up a couple when the Diamondbacks had a juice in the first. And now Red Sox can return the favor in the third. They get a couple here. They'll take the lead. See what they can do. Big leverage at bat early. 43 pitches in the Nelson's day. 0-0. That one is fouled back off the four seam at 95 and toward the hands. So these pitchers in between Bayo and Nelson have no problem trying to throw inside to try to stuff these batters up and make it hard for them to go ahead and get something more other than a jam shot. It's worked out a couple times for the Red Sox in this inning. 97, he swung late toward the top left of the box. That was nasty. He just went basically with the gas there. 276 with the career bases loaded average for Refsnyder. But he's up against it 0-2. Red Sox, 2 outs. Trying to get this game tied or take the lead. 93, swing and a miss on a cutter way outside the zone. Refsnyder disgusted with himself. Cora, you don't get anything out of that one, though. There was 2 outs. And the third, they got bases loaded. They do not score. It's still 2-1 Arizona. They come back, top 4.
It's always better at
Berger Chevrolet has the largest selection of used and certified pre-owned vehicles in Grand Rapids. Pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Berger has it all with the options you need to fit your budget and your lifestyle. When you're ready to buy your next vehicle, come to Berger. We've been serving West Michigan's automotive needs since 1925. Start shopping online at BergerChevy.com.
It's always better at Burger. Hot dogs have the best of both. Our juicy chicken is marinated to perfection with 2 distinct twists on all 6 flavors. Whether you prefer our spicy bone-in wings or our classic tender white meat boneless wings, we've got the best of both. To everyone out there who loves stoners,
The feeling is mutual. Everything is made fresh.
everything.
It's our pleasure.
This is me and my happy place.
I wouldn't trade our Culver's for any other restaurant. Culver's, we love our guests.
Love.
Yes, love us.
This is me, my happy place.
From Wisconsin with love.
Here's the latest update to throw across here for you. Red Sox load the bases with 2 outs. A couple infield singles there from Abreu, Casas, Devers walk. They don't score, though. Still 2-1 Arizona. It's been that way since this first inning as we go to the 4th. So Bayo out here to work the 4th. 6th, 7th, and 8th due up here for the Snakes. We'll go back up to it right now on the order. Adrian De Castillo, Eugenio Suarez, and Luis Guillorme. So Castillo has been red hot since being promoted. This one toward the left side. Again, they had to replace Gabby Moreno, who's still dealing on the 10-day IL. He will be coming back. So will Ketel Marte and Christian Walker for the Diamondbacks. So talk about how good their offense has been, and primarily it's been without some of those guys. So Rich Hill signed as a free agent. He last pitched with Worcester in AAA. 2 innings, 28 pitches, 2 strikeouts, and a walk. I believe that's the U of M man, Rich Hill. Still getting it done in his middle 40s. So line out there for Castillo. And now Suarez will take a sinker outside, making 1-1 as Bayo's 51 pitches into his day. He's looked pretty good after that very shaky first. 95. No problem here for David Hamilton. Takes the toss, throws it over. Tristan Casas, 2 up, 2 down here for the Sox on their defensive side of it. And that will leave it up to Luis Guillorme in the top of the 4th. Joining there with you, I got the NESN feed from MLB TV. Thank you for joining me here for this one. Again, I know there's a lot of other things you could be doing on a Friday night. Feel free to interact with me. I will be back on Sunday alongside Alec Nava for the Astros and the O's. That's Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN once this is done. We'll get the notes and everything together tomorrow to prep for Sunday. Alec's going to have, I think that's going to start at 7:10 Eastern as well. Probably about 15 minutes of pregame. I'll join him before first pitch. And I'll have the YouTube side and all that up. I think he'll be streaming on Twitch and we'll be on Twitter X Space. John Reinhardt and Inzer Alec if you want to join in. So pitch clock down to 5 and does not get the call on a gorgeous sinker. That was in the zone, low, 3-0 for Luis Guillorme. If he reaches, it'll be Geraldo Perdomo before we switch over the order for a second time. 3-0 pitch. And that was just an obligatory take on a sinker, 94. As Bayo tries to work his way through it. Considering, as we said, with bases loaded, no outs in the first, to only give up 2 runs, and his pitch count only at 57 right now. That is a blessing here for Bayo. I mean, that's exactly what you want. It could have been so much worse. 215 average for Guillorme. With Atlanta, the Angels, and Arizona, 63 games combined. He is a platoon extraordinaire. We'll take a walk. 95-mile-an-hour sinker, nowhere close off the back foot. And now Geraldo Perdomo's got another opportunity, so he'll take one. 281 average, 2 bombs, 23 RBI, 39 runs scored, 20 walks, 34 strikeouts for Perdomo, the 24-year-old. Plays good defense. It's got above average speed, I would say. Switchback, 96 on a sinker. Almost split the plate there. 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the second. So he had to deal, I think, a little bit with a meniscus tear, from what they're saying with Dave O'Brien on the NESN side of it for Perdomo. I think Steve Berthiaume does the play-by-play for the Arizona Diamondbacks on TV side, former ESPN anchor. 0-1 pitch. The last one was a sinker. This will be pitch number 60 here for Bayo. Half-hearted effort there on a slider that did not look comfortable at all. So here's what I was talking about earlier. Marte, sprained left ankle. Moreno, abductor on the left side, oblique on the left side, all 10-day IL. So Marte, Moreno, and Walker set to come back very soon with the next couple of weeks. This is toward the bat path. Should be no problem for Duran as he makes the catch and the side's retired. Diamondbacks go quietly again after a walk. Still 2-1 Arizona. Let me get in.
Cars, trucks, and SUVs. Berger has it all with the options you need to fit your budget and your lifestyle. When you're ready to buy your next vehicle, come to Berger. We've been serving West Michigan's automotive needs since 1925. Start shopping online at bergerchevy.com.
How's it going, Ian?
Hello, Mr. Odds. Long time no chat.
How are you doing?
to the last days, to the last few days of the MLB season, and I actually have a reason to pay attention now because my team is good this year.
Yeah, you do. Again, I know Ian, alongside Alec and all that, we talked about this, but you know what? I really liked what the Royals did in the offseason. You go out and get guys like Lugo. You go out and get some bats. Again, nothing mind-blowing, but it doesn't have to be that way. They're all MLB productive players. You got Bobby Wood Jr., you got some talent there. I think it made a lot of sense, and they've done well.
Yeah. Trust me, John, if you had asked any Royals fans if we would be this good, everyone would have said no, and whoever said we would have been, and anyone who said we would have been this good, they were lying.
Yeah. I could partly see some of that too. I'm not going to disagree with that at all. I do think, like that there was some talent there, but again, I just like the idea to go out and spend a little bit. That's not breaking the bank, but that's just bringing in some players that are going to be able to get you some production. And I think they've done a great job, and that matters.
Yeah, but I think what's most surprising about the Royals is just how good some of those acquisitions have been.
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, you signed Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo, two guys. Well, Wacha is in the later stages of his career.
Sure.
And Lugo has an injury history that had 1 year of top line production. I mean, there was no way to judge that, and the Royals just pounced and decided to take a chance on it, and lo and behold, it's worked.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of your points. I think you said it right. Again, I might be underselling it a little bit, the fact that you didn't expect it to work this well. I completely agree, but I think sometimes that's the right thing to do. You don't break the bank on guys, and I hate to throw my own team under the bus. You sign Javier Baez to a giant contract. I don't think there was any need to do that. You might as well take some other singles rather than trying to go for the grand slam all the time.
I gotta be honest, man. That contract will never make sense to me. Like at the time it was signed, maybe, but by that point you knew who Javier Baez was.
I agree.
He was a free swinging shortstop / second baseman. His defense was okay, but the guy was a strikeout magnet.
Yeah. You want to know the first game that he came back against Wrigley Field? What did he do? He went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts and 4 sliders outside of the zone. So you know exactly what you're going to get on that side to speak to what you're talking about. Masataka Yoshida will swing. This will be foul on the left field side. So, again, taking a look at the Diamondbacks and the Boston Red Sox today, and then I will join Alec on Sunday for the Astros and the O's. That should be a good one.
Yeah. Well, I've got some skin in this game that you're covering, the Diamondbacks and the Red Sox, because the Red Sox are only 3.5 games back.
Yeah.
From the Royals. And right now, the Royals, everyone in the AL Central is just watching right now because it is way too close to call, my friend.
I think so too. I shouldn't say this, but I was a little surprised. I mean, maybe not even of the Royals, but the Twins. I didn't know if they were going to bounce back. I know they got Royce Lewis and a couple other players. I do like some of their pitching staff, but Carlos Correa is always up and down because he's hurt. I don't know if I like that team as much as I like the Royals.
Well, the big weakness about the Royals is they do not have a reliable bullpen at all. I mean, outside of Lucas Urseg and maybe Chris Bubich,
right?
You don't have. I mean, you have guys you can turn to, but there isn't a surefire combo that you can turn to. Not like what they had Actually, no one has had what they had in 2014 and 15.
Yeah, we're not having Herrera, Davis, and Holland walk through the door, correct?
Right. And even when it wasn't those three guys, you still had quality arms. And the key to victory for them now is to blow out their opponent, which they can do. But when you get into games where it's 1 run, 2 run, you just don't know if you're going to win.
Sure. Yeah. There's no, you're right. There's no luxury there because, again, I speak of my own team, and this is the thing that frustrates me is Ian. I mean, I have to go through as Jansen swings and misses, so that was pretty easy there. But I have to go through essentially 3 out of 5 days where they're doing bullpen frenzy. So, I mean, it's what, Kiter Montero and Tarek Skubal and nobody else. And then when you're doing the bullpen frenzy thing, it's the same thing from what you're talking about from the Royals. The Tigers don't have anybody that they can use on the bottom innings. And it gets really frustrating when you're trying to close out close games.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised when we were able to acquire Lucas Urseg. I thought for sure he was going to get picked up by another team because this is a guy who can throw 100 with control, with movement, and you get him for another 5 years.
Yeah, that's definite. Something that doesn't fall out of the tree there on that. So it's good for the Royals to pick that up. I'm really interested to watch to see if they can hang in there as far as the race. Honestly, I'm not saying this because you're in here, Ian. I do think the Royals are going to be able to hold on to their spot. I do think it will be difficult for the Red Sox to try to break into this. I know their offense and everything else is really good. Again, we're watching this one because it has implications as Ian's talking about. But these two teams offensively since the break have been ridiculous. But they just have so many pitching injuries as well for the Red Sox, and that might come and bite them in the butt.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this now as Red Sox go away 1, 2, 3. Again, as Ian mentioned, 3.5. You got the Twins and the Royals holding on to those spots, and then the Baltimore Orioles on that side. Baltimore's going to have one of those spots. We agree on that, correct?
Oh yeah. I mean, they would. I'm not even sure a monument. I'm not even sure a complete collapse would take them out of the playoff picture.
Yeah.
Simply because, other than the 8th, I wouldn't trust the Boston Red Sox to overtake them in the divisional standings. So
Me either.
one of those spots goes to them. I'm not even sure they lost all of the rest of their games. I think that even if they lost the rest of their games, they would still make the playoffs.
Yeah, because again, that's kind of the point that I was making that we agree on in the sense of Red Sox kind of have to slug their way to get wins. And I don't know if that's going to happen consistently. And Baltimore's pitching staff's pretty good. Their team across the board was pretty good. They added at the deadline as far as some bullpen help. I'm looking at the National League side of it. And I know one team would be in it already, but they've been just destroyed by injuries. The Atlanta Braves are sitting just outside at 68 and 59. And curiously, that is almost the same record that the Red Sox have. But Austin Riley just went down. I mean, if it wasn't for Marcelo Zuna, I don't even know where they'd be right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know how the Braves are staying in it. I don't. Because you get injured. Everyone on your team gets injured.
Yeah.
And it's not even, like losing a starter is bad no matter who it is, right? You lose Cunha, you lose Albies, you lose
Riley.
Austin Riley. I was about to say one of their pitchers. I didn't even realize that Austin
Yeah, and you got Spencer Strider, as you mentioned, too. I mean, that is utterly ridiculous.
Good Lord. Actually, funny enough you say that. The Royals actually, not this offseason, not this trade deadline or even offseason, but I think it was either last year's trade deadline or 2 years ago where they acquired Kyle Wright from the Braves after he had fallen to the dreaded Tommy John.
Sometimes that happens too, and that's always a pain. And having to deal with some of these injuries, and you hope that it doesn't happen to the players that you acquired or the players that are also part of your team that you're trying to make a postseason run with. I guess the one thing that makes it exciting now with baseball is this extra wild card spot, as this is tossed over for Hamilton, and they get Corbin Carroll for the first out in the top 5.
Yeah, this was a sport that needed another wild card spot.
I agree.
Because just having two wasn't, it wasn't going to get done. Now, I mean, you've got teams that are still fighting that with just 2 wild card spots wouldn't have even, most teams wouldn't even have bothered. They'd be bringing up their farm hands to go ahead and just get them some innings for next season, giving up.
It's all about, like you said, I mean, right? There'll be those September call-ups. You'd already be throwing all that stuff in, making sure you don't mess up the service time too much. But yeah, you would already be playing some of those guys, and I like it because honestly, it keeps us intrigued throughout this whole season. I mean, let's face it, it's 162 games. You want to be able to be glued in.
Yep.
So Joc Pederson tried to show bunt on 0-1. I'm not sure why a guy with 27 home runs would want to show bunt with 2 outs in top 5. But Bayo had the bases loaded. And the first inning, he only gave up 2 runs. And Arizona still has a 2-run lead as Pederson will drive this one fouled on our field line, make it 0-2. So we're watching this alongside at Fenway Park. I got this feed on MLB TV. This is down off the changeup off the slider, off the back foot at 87. Bayo's one of those guys that's ERA is a little bit inflated, almost toward 4. But if he gets the control locked down a little bit, he's still enough of a young arm. I think he can do very well. Swing and a miss as he blows it right by Pederson and hops off the mound. We'll go to bottom 5. Red Sox still down 2-1.
Well, John, you know what team I've actually been paying attention to, not because I'm, rooting for them, but because I'm just perplexed at the flow and the path they've taken this season in terms of wins and losses.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect the Yankees to be. I mean, I expected the Yankees to have flaws, but good Lord.
You know what, Ian? I just want to say this honestly. And again, I know some people will tell me that, adding one player is not going to change your whole team. I call BS because when you get somebody like Juan Soto, that kind of changes everything in that lineup. And I know it's really dependent on what Aaron Judge is doing. The dude's a freaking alien, correct? We know that. But yeah, it really kind of pushed this team forward. And it's interesting, right? Because DJ LeMahieu is nowhere near the batting champion 2-time that he used to be. Torres isn't necessarily doing well. They had to bring up Oswaldo Cabrera. They got guys that are not having great years, and yet they're 75 and 53.
I mean, it actually blows my mind that it's funny because if they had done what the Royals did, go after guys like Hunter Renfroe, maybe not Adam Frazier and Garrett Hampson, but if they had just looked at not necessarily not the high priced superstar guys, but if they looked at for instance, getting a contact hitter, but a guy who had some pop, like a Hunter Renfroe, or if they acquired Paul DeYoung at the trade deadline, imagine what they need, because these guys, although they got off to some rather bad starts this season, Hunter Renfroe still has power, and he's hitting for contact most nights. And Paul DeYoung, yeah, he strikes out a lot, but when he gets a hold of that ball, it's gone.
Yes.
And Kauffman Stadium is not an easy place. It's the hardest place to hit home runs.
That's a fair point. And at least for Hunter Renfroe, I know he plays a premium defense and outfield position, that you're kind of wondering what was going to happen with Soto, if he was going to be able to do that. Aaron Judge now fully commanding center field. So I like those points that you're bringing in there. And yeah, it's kind of interesting to see where they would be. But again, I think, as we both said, I think the Yankees are doing just fine, probably better than maybe we expected a little bit. But I mean, when you have those two guys in the middle of that order, good luck to everybody else.
Although they did lose a game to the White Sox.
Yeah, anytime you lose a game to the White Sox, you don't feel good. Again, Tigers and the White Sox are playing for 4 this weekend, so anything less than 4-0, I'm going to be disappointed.
Right.
And to Ian's point, I'm just looking at this right now as Rafael punches out of a beautiful pitch in the black. The White Sox are the first team officially eliminated from contention already. Again, this is August 23rd, 2024, so a little more than a month to play in the season. And why? Because they are 31-97.
I don't want to speak certainty just yet, John, but the Tigers, I understand they had a really bad season around 05, or maybe it was 04. The White Sox might have a worse record by the end of this season.
Yeah, see, because I know the Tigers, they were close to sniffing what the Mets did, right? Wasn't it 119 games? Tigers were pretty close to that. They didn't break it. And you're right. I think the White Sox have a really good chance to break it. They have a .242 winning percentage.
And it's amazing, because as soon as we acquire Paul DeYoung from the White Sox,
yeah,
he starts hitting a lot better. He hits for a lot more pop.
Good sliding stop there for Bell. Was able to get the toss over there from Ryan Nelson to get a speedy Duran. Good defensive play there. And you know what? You're right, Ian, because you know what? That's motivation, really. I get a chance to go to a much better team, get out of the doghouse essentially, and showcase my skills. That's going to percolate you a little bit and get you ready to play.
Yep. And actually, you know what? Let's talk about a team that we're actually covering right now.
Sure.
The Diamondbacks. They put together they had a little bit of a resurgence this season,
yes,
because early on it was looking like they were going to be, in that mediocre range. And by all accounts, their season, and now don't they have the second wild card spot?
Right, yes. Right now they're tied with the first spot with San Diego with a 3.5 game lead.
Yeah.
And, Ian, this comes with players like Gabriel Moreno, Ketel Marte, and Christian Walker on the IL. They're coming back. They're on the 10-day IL, but they're getting 3 of those guys back very soon.
Yeah, but not to mention, to start the season, and he's gotten a bit better, but Corbin Carroll was horrible.
Yeah, he wasn't having a great year.
He's rebounded a little bit, but good Lord.
Yeah, he was batting bingo numbers. He was in the 060s. It was not very good. and they've bounced back. I mean, now their pitching staff, you got Montgomery, you got Eduardo Rodriguez. You kind of lengthen that out. You got some good players in the bullpen. Jam shot, Perdomo's got that. Red Sox get turned away. It's been pretty good that Ian's joined me because it's been pretty quiet since. We go to the 6th, it's still 2-1 Arizona. No, you make a good point because it's been that way. They've rebounded quite quickly, and I think they're going to do well. I'm going to make sure I type this in real quick, and then I'm going to ask you a couple questions if you still want to hang out. You're welcome to stay as long as you want.
Lourdes, thanks.
All right, so I want to make sure I get a couple of those notes in as we go to the 6th. So here, let me ask you this, Ian. I don't know how much you follow this team. I know this is Cooper's team as far as the Seattle Mariners. I only caught it on the outset because the last time I covered them a couple weeks ago, it was about a 2-game lead in the AL West. You could kind of tell that the Houston Astros are charging. And now all of a sudden, they've lost 3 in a row, 2 in their last 10. They've fallen off a cliff. And they fired Scott Service. What's going on in Seattle? I know they can't score runs, and their pitching staff is good, but they just look lost at the plate.
To put it simply, actually, I'm going to be really harsh about this.
Sure.
They have what seems to be a lineup full of Baltimore Orioles late-stage Chris Davises.
That's a great analogy. Go ahead.
They cannot walk. They cannot make contact. They cannot put men in scoring position. If they do score any runs, it's on the fluky, it's not fluky, but it's on the solo home run. And and even when they do get men on base, I believe they've made a few base running errors, but what was more frustrating about this, John, is the fact that their starting rotation is among the best, if not the best.
Yes.
In the MLB, especially in the AL. Like, they are lighting teams up with their pitching. It's just they cannot hit. They tried to fix the problem by acquiring Randy Arozarena. I was saying that they needed to punt on this year and sell off whatever they could and get prospects, because it was a seller's market. They did have a couple pieces they could trade. I think let's see. I'm trying to think because their lineup switches. Their lineup switches around now, but they had some pieces they could trade. But more importantly, John, they had the same problem with as the Royals, except I think actually no, it's about the same. They had no bullpen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they had no bullpen. According to a Mariners fan, apparently, and I had to look this up just to see how bad it is. Hang on, I'm going to look something up real quick. Go ahead and get a word in.
So 3-1, Gurriel takes a big swing. Bayo still trying to get through this. In the 6th, his pitch count in excellent shape here at 78. Again, we talked about it. Bases loaded, nobody out in the 1st. Arizona only scores 2. Boston counters after a pair of doubles in the 1st, and that's still where we are, as we're in the 6th inning at Fenway Park in Boston. Ian and I were just talking about Seattle and what's been going on over there as Gurriel draws a walk. And at some of his points, I'll jump in as he's looking up some stuff. Again, out of the 30 teams that we have, Seattle was number 1 in pitching rotation. We talk about that. 29th in batting average. The only team worst was a team that had a 22-game losing streak in the Chicago White Sox, and the worst team in the league. And again, he made the analogy of a team full of Chris Davises. I think that's absolutely correct. I did not expect, and I'll say this because I've seen him a lot with the Minnesota Twins, Jorge Polanco to have such a miserable year. That was one of those guys I thought that they were going to bring in the middle infield to kind of help out Cade Marlowe and some of the other ones that they might platoon, or Josh Rojas, and be a piece. But he really hasn't been. The only guy that can get away with striking out as much as he does, because he has production, is Cal Raleigh. Everybody else on that team, where are they? I don't know.
So I've looked it up, John.
Mhm.
Please keep in mind, this is their bullpen pitchers that we're talking about. Okay, so Andres Munoz, their closer.
Yes.
6 saves on the year, but for a closer, he has a 2.68 ERA.
And he gave up a 2-run shot and a loss to Javier Baez.
Yeah. Next up, Yimi Garcia, one of their relief pitchers, 3.54 ERA. Tyler Cicero, 3.40 ERA. Colin Steiner, 3.56 ERA. This is where we start getting into the bad, into some of the bad figures.
Yeah.
Chargois, I believe they acquired him from the Marlins at the trade deadline. They acquired Austin Vogt from the Diamondbacks, I believe. Respectively, Chargois has a 4.56 ERA, Austin Vogt a 4.42, Troy Taylor, who I think has started the season with them, 4.98. Gregory Santos is on the 15-day IL. He has a 3.45. Trent Thornton, 3.45. Edward Bizzardo, 3.69. Jonathan Diaz, 4.47. Gabe Spire, 3.63. Carlos Vargas, 4.75. Cody Bolton and Chris Nowitzki have ERAs over 5. And Jonathan Hernandez, Mauricio Llovera, and Kirby Snead all have ERAs a little over 2. So yeah, their bullpen is all over the place.
Bayo threw this pitch away, and it got away, so he had runners at first and third with 1 out. There's going to start to be some throwers out there in Boston's bullpen. And to Ian's point, again, even I didn't realize the bullpen was that bad for the Mariners, but indeed it is. I mean, this is shot toward left field side. And the Diamondbacks are going to get a run on a RBI single to left field for Eugenio Suarez, make it 3-1.
Yeah. I mean, they don't even have a relief pitcher with an ERA. I mean, they have 2 relief pitchers with 2.5 ERA, but that's the lowest value they have.
Right.
Like, that's the lowest ERA they have. And, this is why. The guys that have that low of a figure, they've only pitched 3 innings.
Yeah, so they've really been trying to go ahead at their crust and find some pitchers that they can use. Again, as we talk about with the starters who have pretty much been the best in baseball, it's so unfair to ask of that for guys like Luis Castillo or Brian Wu or George Kirby or whoever you want to mix in there. And I looked at Castillo's win-loss record, and his ERA is actually pretty good. And he's got, I think, about 12, 13 losses on the year because this team just can't score any runs. I mean, you have the bullpen problem, as you talked about, and that's kind of the nutshell personified. And then you want to go ahead and try to fire Scott Service. I mean, maybe that's the right call, but I will agree with you, Ian, in the sense of you had 2 years where they were kind of in the mix of, hey, let's go for it. Hey, maybe we should pull back. and gets stuck in the middle, and that's not where you want to be. This is driven off the wall for Luis Guillorme. That's going to send in some more runs. RBI double. It's 4-1.
Luis Guillorme. That's most notable for his time with the Mets.
Yes, it is. I think they're going to come and get Bayo as Alex Cora. It's 1 out, top 6. We'll get a pitching change. Snakes got runners on second and third. We'll take a break.
But yeah, the situation in Seattle is just, they don't have any bats. They have no one that can get on base. I don't know if anyone even walks in that lineup. I don't think they do. Just judging by the fact that I didn't watch one of their games, but I paid attention to it on MLB.com. Barely anyone got on base. It was actually just frustrating to watch.
Yeah, I imagine you're sharing the same frustrations that a lot of M's fans are. I think he encapsulated it perfectly.
And I'm sure, even with all the talent the Tigers had over the years, I'm sure there were times where, Verlander, Scherzer, Porcello, Sanchez, and Galarraga, name a great, David Price. They'd go out there and the offense would lay an egg.
Yes. We got swept in the postseason around the, after the 2012 time when we made the World Series and lost to the Giants and got swept. But I think it was, I don't know what year it was, maybe 2014-15, when they had Verlander, Scherzer, Price back to back in the first round against the Baltimore Orioles in the postseason. They got swept.
Jesus. I mean, oh my God. And if I remember correctly, they still had a decent enough bullpen.
Yeah, they were, I think, relying on Jabba Chamberlain at the time. They might have had a Papa Grande, Jose Valverde toward the end of it. Like, it was okay, but if you got to the bullpen, you probably were going to lose the game. That was my opinion at the time.
Right. Well, was that due more with the bullpen or the fact that there were times you guys just could not score?
I think it's more of a 50-50 proposition, and I will give that to you. But I think I was more upset at the times, again, when we just talked about it with, Herrera, Davis, and Holland. Sometimes you have to win low-scoring games, especially when you get into the postseason. That's just me. I agree with you. I would go probably more toward the bullpen side, but it'd be easy to be frustrated on both. This one hits Rafaela's glove. It can't make the play. 5-1 Arizona. They're starting to blow this open.
Wow. I'm honestly surprised. Actually, no. See, with how Illich spent, it made sense that they didn't give looks to guys like Holland, Herrera, and Davis. I mean, it kind of made sense because, it just, when you look at guys like that, they didn't seem like 2000, 2010 Tigers. They weren't like those high-priced, well-known names.
Yeah, and to your point, Ian, correct, because, you have Miguel Cabrera, you have Prince Fielder, V-Mart, all these other guys like that. Yeah. The guys that are going to drive in runs and try to outslug everybody. And that sounds great in theory, but it's like you said with Kaufman. I know they just moved in the walls over the last couple of years of Comerica, but it was 420 feet to center. Don't forget at the time. So that's a very spacious ballpark. And you know what? Sometimes I'd rather have guys like, Curtis Granderson, who they traded away, or, somebody like that I'd like to see. Because we talked about the Yankees not that long ago. I know the Yankees had some hit and miss years, but Curtis Granderson had 40 home runs for the Yankees. I don't know if it was twice, but at least once, because he's a lefty. He's got a good swing, and he's got some power. But it would have been nice if the Tigers would have had more speed guys as well. Maybe some bullpen help that you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, the best bullpen arm you guys had at that time was a guy named Doug Fister, right?
Yeah, Doug Fister was part of the rotation for Seattle, but it was like Jose Valverde for a minute. And I don't know I forget who else that they were trying to use. Oh, what a play! Ceddanne Rafaela with a ridiculous save. And we end the 6th. I hope you saw that one, Ian.
I'm sure I'll see it later. Unfortunately, trying to watch any baseball games with how their
yes.
television contracts are set up, it's a struggle.
That's gonna be a top play on ESPN. I'll tell you that right now. Ceddanne makes a great play toward running left on center field, short port of left, dives, makes the catch. Looked like he might have knocked the wind out of himself, but I think he's going to be okay. And then we went to break. That does not take away what the Arizona Diamondbacks just did. 5-1 now. They score 3 in that 6th inning, and the Red Sox will be up against it. They have the offense right now, but Diamondbacks bullpen, we've been talking about bullpens a lot. Their bullpen is pretty lock and key. They're good.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can get you some updates. Again, I said I would do that around the 7th. We're going to go bottom 6. Looking at the standings a little bit too, so I'll pull back up the scores here. So this one's on Apple TV. I know Alex probably on pins and needles, but at least he gets to watch Paul Skeens, but not today. 60-67 on the Pirates. They're winning 6-5 against the Reds. Yankees have a 3-0 lead on the Rockies. You figure that one is at least going to be a series win, if not a sweep. They're already up 3, top 7. The Astros and the O's. Alec and I will be covering that on Sunday Night Baseball. The Astros have a 5-2 lead on the Birds. That's at Camden Yards. The Angels are beating the Blue Jays 4-3. That's another team that we can talk about in the Toronto Blue Jays because their season has not gone as probably they expected. They already made some moves. We're covering the Diamondbacks. They're winning 5-1. They had a big 3-run 6th inning so far as Red Sox are up the bat. It's a 3-3 tie between the Cubs and the Marlins. The Texas Rangers are up 4-3 on the Guardians, top 6. And then we'll get into some more scores in a minute.
And Aaron Judge clocked his 49th homer on the year. Because of course he did.
Is he, you know what, honestly, Ian, if he didn't get called up so late for the Yankees, because I think when he was called up, correct, wasn't he like 27 years old?
I forget. I don't even know what year they called him up.
Yeah, I think he was already pretty late as far as when he was called up, and yet he just continues to drive the ball with power. But I think the one thing that I've really liked with Judge over the years especially is his eye has gotten so much better. He's been able to draw a lot more walks. He takes pitchers' pitches and still drives them out of the ballpark. Tristan Costa is going to punch out. So no problem there for Nelson as he's featuring 96, and that was low in the black. And I was taken for strike 3. They're showing that Ceddanne Rafaela's catch. Again, you're going to see that over and over again. Number 43 sprawls out in shallow left field, makes the catch. Really, he's the only one that's going to be able to get to it, gold chains and all. Just a terrific play. And we'll bring up Rafi Devers as it's 5-1 Snakes in the bottom of the 6th, 96 on a fastball. Does not get the call. Devers 1-0. He had bases loaded, I think, in the 3rd inning, and they had 2 outs. Then they loaded the bases, but Devers couldn't get anybody across. Big swing and a miss, making 1-1. So I know Ian just mentioned it. I just saw it across the NESN side. They mentioned Judge again. I mean, you have to. Again, you're talking about the Red Sox. Got to talk about the Yankees. It is the AL East. Talking about Devers' power, but really nobody matches up to Judge. Or maybe even the type of season that Shohei is having. It's possible Shohei, I think he could get to a 50 stolen base season. He might get to 50 bombs. So 2-1 here for Devers. Big swing, and this will go fouled straight back. Looks the catcher's side, make it 2-2. Fenway Park here in Boston. John and I are with you alongside Ian Genge. We've had some good lively conversation along some of the stuff on the MLB side. I know he's watching across for what happened for the Royals and the Phillies. That one top three tied at 1.
Yeah, the thing about having Mike Walker is he's good. He's a veteran player. He knows what to do. It's just the thing about him is he doesn't have a lot of power, which means he has to rely on finesse and against some hitters, that's just not going to happen.
Well, when you got Schwarber, Turner, and Bryce Harper, that can be very difficult to always throw a finesse.
Yeah.
I still think as much, and again, I'm rooting for you honestly here because I have a few other friends as well that are Royals. And I actually play some games with and all that too that are Royals fans. And as much as I'm rooting for them, and I hope that you can win a World Series and have fun and do all that, I would like to see the Phillies finally crack through and figure it out. Maybe it's short-sightedness for me because of Nick Castellanos or former GM Dave Dombrowski, but I really like that team. I feel like they've been close, haven't been able to break through.
Who, the Phillies?
Yes.
Yeah, the Phillies. Oh man, the Phillies are an interesting team because it's hard to get a read on them right now because they're not doing what you would think most dominant teams would do. They're not, they've stumbled, and it's obvious.
They've stumbled, you're correct. And there's definitely been parts there, but is it fair to say too, Ian, that they might be pacing themselves, or are they really just struggling?
They might be pacing themselves, but they also, at one point, they also got swept.
They did. They lost. There was a time where they were losing like 12 to 13. I mean, they were really struggling when I was covering them not too long ago. So you're right about that. You don't see. I don't care who the Phillies play. They play the Dodgers or whoever else. If they get swept in a series, something's wrong with that because that team's too good to get swept in a series.
All right, the Royals get out of the top of the third inning with a clutch double play. Let's go.
We're going to monitor that as we go across too. And we could probably take a look around the league as well. I don't have to cover this whole thing. I know I'm doing the story and all that, but I got what I need right now because right now, essentially the first and the top of the sixth is kind of the story of the game here for the Diamondbacks. And Ryan Nelson doing a pretty good job. He might strike out the side. He just took Devers out looking, and I got Rob Ruffsnyder in the 5 spot. And this is a fastball. He does go the other way with it. He drives it pretty good toward the wall. Gone. Solo shot right field for Rob Ruffsnyder. And it's 5-2.
Yep, another one of those names that he will get mentioned a lot, but when you ask about him, even in the region of Boston, they'll be like, yeah, he plays for the Red Sox. He's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good platoon guy. Probably play what? Maybe say 65, 70 games a year. I mean, right now he's already about 63 games, almost hitting 300. He's a good player, but that's what he is.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if this is right. I don't remember if they have him playing right field or left field.
You're correct. Right field.
That's right. I just actually, what's crazy for me is that, okay, if I were to tell you that the starting left fielder or the primary left fielder for the Royals, MJ Melendez, would you be able to tell me what his first position was?
I believe it was catcher, but tell me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right. Which just think about it. A catcher converted to a left fielder.
How does that play? He must have had some speed if you're going to convert him to left field. I know they had Christian Walker go from first base to left, but I've never really heard of many catchers do it.
He does have speed, and actually, he has a decent arm. He's hosed some runners. It's just, it's like, and this is gonna sound unusual, but you found a unicorn there, because really, how many guys can go from catcher to left field?
I mean, we go through the time machine again. This is before my time as well, and probably before yours. But if you like Gary Carter, somebody like that for the Mets, like Hall of Fame catcher, but like there's not many. And then you make the point, okay, you can say, look, you got an arm, you got some speed, but also you know it better than I do, Ian. You follow this a lot. In the sense of being a catcher, you got to be able to call the game. You got to be able to block a ball. You got to be able to run a pitching staff. Maybe it's just harder for him to do that.
True, yeah. And I will admit he did have some troubles being a catcher. One of the things but actually, we still have South behind the plate, but
sure.
Another player that everyone should have their eyes on, Freddie Fermin.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty well, hasn't he?
He is by far. I mean, people are only half joking when they say they want him on a lifetime contract. Get this, a backup right-handed catcher, he's hitting 301 on the season.
And he's got a decent amount of games and all that stuff in there too. So yes, you can understand the love affair that they got right now going on.
He's played. I don't know if this is started or played it. I'm just gonna go start. He's started 83 games.
Yeah, that's a very good sample size to be doing that well. I can understand exactly why you're saying that.
Yeah.
I think we have a hit batter to start this one here. So Joely Rodriguez, I believe, is still the pitcher. Yes, he is, as Josh Bell is going to be doing that one. Hit right toward the leg, as I had Joc Pederson, so that one's going to hurt. It'll bring up Josh Bell, but not before Alex Cora says, hey, let's go grab the baseball and take another commercial break. So we'll jump back in a moment.
Another underrated trade the Royals did. They did a 1-for-1 with the Texas Rangers, getting Michael Lorenzen for a young relief pitcher in Walter Pennington.
I want to tell you this, Ian, as my story for the season, because I only went to one Tigers game. You talk about the Lorenzen trade, and I laugh because he played some time with the Reds and with the Tigers. So I was like, okay, he's going to rip us up pretty good. And I think he went 7 innings. He only gave up 1 run. Tigers did win that game in 11 because it was the Jim Leyland night, the retirement night. and I had some fun. But it was kind of surreal seeing Michael Lorenzen in a Kansas City Royals uniform. He's going to do well there.
Yeah, I like him. He's good because to start the year we had a kid named Alec Marsh as our 5th starter, and it just was not going well.
Right.
He fell off the rails hard, and it was unlike past years where they would have said, let's ride it out. Maybe he can fix himself. No, they nipped that in the bud real quick, giving up a very young, I don't know how young Walter Pennington is, but he had stuff that a lot of people liked. But they said, you know what? We're willing to sacrifice that because we are really close.
Yes. They're in the playoff race right now. They got a spot. I think you have to go for right now. And when I know it's not just one player, and we've talked about it, Ian, on this. When you have somebody like Bobby Witt Jr., you have Salvador Perez on the final years of his career before he rides out of sunset. I think you owe it to those players, don't you?
Oh yeah, especially because Salvi, look, Royals fans will, if you criticize Salvi, most people will just shut you down immediately. But
sure,
look, he's a great player, but good Lord, is his approach just frustrating to watch at times. Because this man, one of the things that he is heralded for is he will turn trash into treasure in terms of pitches, where he will hit absolute junk, and it will be a hit or a home run, which is cool. But when you're doing it on the first pitch and it's normally a ground out or a fly out and you're not working the pitcher, it gets old very fast. But regardless, he is a legend in this town. Matter of fact, I don't know if you saw it. It was circulating the airwaves. He stopped at a random person's house and asked if he, like in his neighborhood, and asked if he could join in a wiffle ball game.
How cool is that? That's cool.
It was awesome.
So I know we don't get to see this on the TV coverage, and again, I can't top a story like that. But the fans were just cheering at Fenway Park, and why? As Winkowski is now the new pitcher, there was a fan on the field that just got apprehended by some security guards. Welcome to baseball.
And Salvi, and as we're talking about him, Salvi just clocked his 23rd homer. Royals up 4-1 on the Phillies in the bottom of the 3rd.
There you go. And you got a 3-run tank there for Mr. Perez.
2
runs. Okay.
But regardless, it's still 4-1 Royals.
Because I know last I checked, it was tied at 1.
Yep.
So we had some mix in there. We'll get the scoring update. Josh Bell try to take this the other way. Have to play it off the wall now. The Diamondbacks, they've swung in the bat pretty well here. As Pederson got hit by a pitch, and Bell's going to have to settle for a long single. 2 on and nobody out, top 7. So let's take a look. I'll dive into that box score real quick as we're getting lined up here with the bats. So Pasquantino, single to right, scored Michael Massey, and then Perez with a 2-run tank. 434 feet to left center. That was no cheapie.
No. And while you're looking at the box score, I'll go ahead and look at other scores around the league for you, just so we can get a read on that. So right now, Pirates are leading the Reds by 1, but the Reds are close to scoring. Yankees are beating the Rockies only 3-0, but it's the bottom of the 7th. Angels lead Blue Jays 4-3. Astros lead Orioles 5-2. Texas Rangers lead the Cleveland Guardians by 4. They lead them 4-3 in the top of the 7th. Cubs and Marlins tied 3-3, top of the 7th. Washington Nationals up 2-1 on the Braves in the top of the 7th. Your Detroit Tigers up 2-1, top of the 4th to the White Sox. As I said, Mike, the Royals are up. The Royals are up 4-1 on the Philadelphia Phillies, bottom of the 3rd. And final game that's going on right now, the St. Louis Cardinals are up. The St. Louis Cardinals and the Minnesota Twins are tied, and they just finished and the bottom of the 3rd just started.
So in our game right now, it's 5-2. It is Lourdes Gurriel with a single. It'll bring up Adrian De Castillo. Again, the rookie catcher, just his 11th game. 361 average, 3 bombs, 14 RBI. Again, he's playing over Gabriel Moreno. They're waiting for him to come back. Bases loaded, no outs. They had this same situation in the first. And now we'll see what they can do with everybody on the pond here. 0-2 count, Josh Winkowski trying to get out of this thing with limited damage. And if Arizona probably scores a few more runs here, this might be the game at this point, as Boston will be down to their final 9 outs. So 0-2 count leverage here for Winkowski. Lets it go. Big swing and a miss on a cutter. He needed that badly. And now it'll be Eugenio Suarez due up next.
Yep, and before that bat gets underway, Hunter Renfroe just takes one 412 feet for his 12th home of the year. Royals up 6-1 on the Philadelphia Phillies in the bottom of the 3rd.
So,
yeah, the Royals are just teeing off on Taijuan Walker right now.
Taijuan Walker is one of those guys, Ian, that I think can be hit and miss. Sometimes I think he looks really good, but for him to get lit up like that already, that's not a good start for the Phillies.
Yeah. Just to give you an idea, he's at 70 pitches in the bottom of the 3rd, and he's given up 6 earned runs.
Eugenio Suarez! Grand slam! 9-2 stakes.
What inning are they in right now?
The 7th inning filet of Josh Winkowski. Alex Cora is pleading for some bullpen because Suarez just hit it over the monster in left field.
Like, I get it, Boston tends to score at will, but 9-2 in the top of the 7th. I mean, you know what? Just call it. It's 9-2, top of the 7th. I mean, and you said that Arizona's bullpen up to this point has been amazing.
Yeah, they have. I mean, you look at guys, and I'll go through the notes here in the sense of it. Let me just scroll up past the Red Sox here because I think they've been passed. Justin Martinez has been their closer, just 1 earned run in August. Ryan Thompson, Kevin Ginkel. Honestly, with this score, you might be able to throw a position player in there, but I think you have to get to 10 runs before they let you do that. But they don't have to use their big guys right now. Eugenio Suarez, we know him well. He's got the power, and he just unleashed all of it.
Oh, yeah, Suarez. You know what? That was a name that I'm honestly surprised the Mariners didn't try to keep because he wasn't the best. Obviously, it wasn't like that. I think it was, that year was 2019 where he hit close to 50 homers. I think everyone was hitting homers that year. But regardless, he was an okay bat for them.
Yes.
You know, I'm surprised they let him go.
This one hit very hard. Duran toward the track, racing, jumping, and making the catch as Luis Guillorme tries to hit it off the wall. He's already had a good day, but Jarren Duran, that was a hell of a play. As that was toward left center field, he was running all the way back to make the catch at about 390 feet. So, yeah, as Ian was talking about, this game's probably done. I'm going to go ahead and cover it just for the sake of this is what I chose for the assignment today. I did say going into it that we could see a lot of run scoring today. That's true, but it's been one-sided. So Winkowski now trying to get through this 1-0 Perdomo. We'll give it a drive, make it 1-1. Again, we'll continue to monitor anything else that gets close. If it does get close enough, I could just probably switch to it in progress and cover the rest of that until this is done. Once this is done, I'll probably sign off the air here. As the Royals, again, you mentioned 6-1. It just ended the third there. So both of our games have blown wide open.
Yeah, well, actually, hey, John, if you want, if we get into double digits in this inning and you don't want to do this game anymore, a game that you could switch over to that is closer is the Texas Rangers and the Cleveland Guardians, because that also has important playoff implications.
Yeah, especially in the AL Central, considering where things are. I know what people will tell me about the Rangers, and I don't disagree completely. After winning the World Series, you get some leeway. Hell, they're going to have leeway, I think, for a few more years. Yet, I'm still stunned that they're 59-69. I have to say it that way.
Well, I think what hurt them is, number one, I think they had some injuries coming out of the game, but number two, they just didn't, they didn't jump like they should.
No.
For a team that's going for another, that's going to make the playoffs again, they just sputtered. They were mediocre the whole season, and you just, especially in the AL West, as we've seen, especially because their crosstown cousins started off horribly.
Yes.
And are now, we were ready to write the Astros off. But then like Nosferatu, they just come back from the dead.
I think that's well said, because you're right. Going into it, what Seattle had, and I had to go back to them, like a 7 or 8 game lead. And they had a 7 or 8 game lead when they're only like a few games above 500. That's how bad it was. And you're right. It's the same point you make there for the Rangers. They had every opportunity, even with all the injuries, to still kind of hang in there, and they just never were able to get started.
Even with the 6-1 lead, I'm just because the Phillies have players like a Kyle Schwarber, like a Bryce Harper, and even when he's a bit, has a bit of a down year. Actually, it's not even a down year, because Nick Castellanos has. I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry, but he will never escape the allegations.
Oh, in a deep drive for Castellanos. Is it always one of those things? Yeah.
It's all, but just think about it. One of the last takes he hit, what happened that day, right?
Yeah, I know with the Tom Brenneman thing and the things he said. I just hate that Castellanos gets tied into all of it, because I do like him as a player. I think he's good, but it is funny.
Yeah, well, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about one of his most recent home runs when it was, when Donald Trump got shot at.
Did he hit another home run during one of those?
He hit a home run that same day, or maybe not. No. It wasn't that, although I'm sure it was. It was the day Joe Biden dropped out of the presidential race. He hit a take. It's like he doesn't escape the allegations.
No, Castellanos has hit some home runs at some very awkward times. Like That's how we can say it about Mr. Nick Castellanos. I do love him as a player, but you can't escape some of that stuff. It's unfortunate. There really isn't a darn thing he can do about it.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope this never happens. But, someone said Castellanos would hit a home run while World War III was happening.
You know what? I don't want to jump on anybody politically because you could talk to me. I'm cool with it. I don't care who does what or do whatever. I don't get upset by it. But you know what? If things continue the way that things are continuing, Ian, I'm a little bit nervous on that front.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad that you agree at least because I'm not telling anybody who to vote for or what to do. I don't care. But it just all the stuff that I've seen over the last few days. Okay, let me just say it like this. It's nice to have joy and it's nice to feel good, and you want to have that in life. I don't disagree with that. But if you have no policy and you have no idea and you're going to run on that same premise the whole time and expect to get world peace, I just don't think it works that way.
Yeah. Look, you either, again, you just don't, this is why the political, I'm going to vote for who I'm going to vote for,
Sure.
That's quite obvious. And it has nothing to do, who I vote for, it has nothing to do with policy at this point. I just want an adult. I want someone who can actually talk and act like an adult, and this is a point that no one can dispute. And I don't want someone that has Twitter fingers.
You know what? And I hate to say this way on both sides. You might have to wait until 2028 for that. You might.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Because there's things for me, and again, I don't care what anybody does, but I don't trust either. I'm a little bit different than you in the sense of the policy things I kind of value a little bit more, but yeah, it's rough right now. So it's going to be Ginkel out on the mound right now for the Diamondbacks, and they're going to put one of their better arms to just close this out completely. So what this means, again, Ian and I talk a lot of baseball here in the sense of it. The Royals got a big lead right now. It's 6-2. Again, he's a little bit kind of holding on the crutch here because the Phillies have a good offense. I agree. They got a lead. Right now, it looks like Arizona is going to get this one lock and key, and that's going to put Boston at least down half a game, maybe in a full game, if the Royals finish it off today.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm just, this is, right now, Michael Walker is at 62 pitches, and if he gets one more out, he'll finish the fourth. But this is where I start to get nervous because, older pitchers who don't have the speed anymore, who don't have the capability of putting velocity behind the ball, it's just, there are some guys where if you give them a pitch, granted, both of us, we'd be lucky to foul off.
Sure.
That pitch going 90 miles an hour, but the pros, they're able to just crush those things. And just some guys, there are just some guys that you have to blow the ball by them.
Yeah, no, you're right, Ian, because you take a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, you throw it down the middle of the plate, that one's going to be gone. These guys hit velocity all day long.
Yeah, but actually, that's what I was saying, though. Sometimes you just have to say, okay, this guy isn't falling for anything. I'm just going to have to throw the hardest pitch I got.
Yeah, sometimes you do.
And while it's not the most ideal thing to do, it's just something that, you have to acknowledge this is a good duel. Now let's just put both of our Now let's just put both. Now I'm gonna throw you my hardest pitch. Let's see if you can hit it.
Yeah, sometimes we do see the little mono back and forth on that. And if you don't have the guys in the bullpen to do that, sometimes it also is hard to get those outs. So
Yeah.
let me go ahead and fix this in the box here. So we talk about the Suarez grand slam at the top of the seventh. That kind of put this game out of reach as Ginkel comes in. He throws a scoreless seventh, and we got 6 more outs here to get on both sides before it's done for Boston. 9 runs, 12 hits, no errors, 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for the Red Sox, as they're not getting the start that they wanted, especially from the backhand side of it. You had 2 runs off bases loaded, could have been a lot worse. 3 in the 6th, 4 in the 7th, and then just single runs scored in the 1st and 6th for the Red Sox.
Yeah. So, quick scoring update. The St. Louis Cardinals have taken the lead, a 3-1 lead off a Lars Nootbaar 2 RBI double.
Love to say the Candyman's name, Lars Nootbaar.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I have to. I like that one. He, if you follow anything on MLB The Show, you always have guys that have 99 overall cards because they hand those out like candy, and Lars Nootbaar has one. As it is a 9-2 game, Jake McCarthy gets set for 2, 3, and 4 for the 4th time through this order. And I have to reiterate this one more time. Ketel Marte, Gabriel Moreno, and Christian Walker pretty much will be back in a couple weeks. And this team already dropped the 9 spot on the Red Sox.
Yeah. Hey, John, I got to ask you, though.
Sure.
I understand you're committed to this game, but just go ahead and give me a hypothetical figure. At what point do you say, okay, yeah, this game's over and not worth calling anymore?
I could probably do it now because I'm in here with you right now as a duo. As if I covered it as a single one myself, I'll go through it and write the story. But yeah, we're probably at the category that I can safely go ahead and do it and still write the story. So if we have something in the intermediate, let me go back to the scores. I could probably call a close 8th or 9th if you want. You got the Astros 5-2 over the Orioles.
I was going, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was going to suggest Rangers and Guardians top of the 8th, but the Texas Rangers are up. They're up 5-3 top of the 8th, and we know that the Guardians have some power hitters. I don't know. That could be interesting.
All right, let's do it. Let me join into it. I don't have all the notes and stuff in front of me, so we're just going to go through what they got. I can still go ahead and look at the batting orders. I'll go back into it because the story's done. I think we've already written it as far as the Grand Slam and everything else, so I'm good with that. Let's take a look at this and I'll load it up. We'll do the Cleveland feed. We'll try to get the home team on there and see if they can bring any excitement. Honestly, for Ian and myself, I think it's fair to say we're not rooting for the Guardians.
No.
Looks like 1, 2, 3, 8th. Texas goes away quietly, and Cleveland has got their last 6 outs when we come back bottom 8. 5-3. They're down by a couple of runs.
I'll keep an eye on the Arizona and Boston game just for in case something happens.
If the Red Sox get like 3 more runs or something like that, I'll flip back over because I will have to make an adjustment to the story. I know Sunday I'll be back with Alec as far as Astros and O's. I know it's Yusei Kikuchi for the Astros. I think TBD right now for anything for the Orioles, so we'll see. Somebody's doing really good right now for the Houston Astros. So it was Hunter Brown, I think former Wayne State prospect here locally. 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, 3 hits, 1 earned run. Tanner Scott now is doing relief. Craig Kimball's out there right now for the Orioles. 1 inning, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts. And I'll make sure I get the starter right. Cade Povich got lit up a little bit. 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs. We'll get this set up here for the Rangers and the Guardians the rest of the way. I know Ian's going to look at some of the other stuff if anything breaks through. It looks like we got Jay Ram leading off, Josh Naylor, and Will Brennan. So Jose Ramirez is the DH today. He's going to get to be off his feet. I'm looking at his last stretch of games. He only has 1 hit in the last 5 games. The Yankees had pretty much pasted the Guardians, and then they had lost a couple games to Milwaukee as well. So they've started to lose more games than they've won.
Yeah. Hey, John, I wanted to ask you something, because I've seen debates on this. I've already, resigned myself to it, but I want to ask, how close is the AL MVP race, in your opinion?
I could tell you what the NL one is, but I think it's Aaron Judge's to lose, correct? Unless I'm really missing something.
Well, it's just, the thing is, and this isn't biased, because I'm sure you noticed the tear that Bobby Witt Jr. was on coming out of the All-Star break.
Well, let me look at his numbers again, because I know that I heard that before, and one of my buddies told me that too. As Jose Ramirez left field side, this one's caught. Let me look at the numbers there, because I know that you're right, and I know that you have a definite argument. Maybe you can change mine, because I'm not strong either way on it. I just want to look at it.
Well, I can tell you that in the month of August, he's slashing an average of 370.
He's hitting 352 right now. He's still got 25 home runs, 92 RBI. I'm going to look and see. I bet his stolen bases are pretty good too, because he does have speeds. He's got 25. Yeah, he's Ian. You can make the argument that that's very close. Very close.
Keep in mind, 25 home runs as a shortstop.
Yes, and that's not like you said, that's not a position where you get a lot of power. You still have another month of baseball to go. Let me, rough math, Ian, right? If he's got 25 bombs right now, maybe gets 10 more, maybe gets what? 20, 25 more RBIs? Yeah, it's probably pretty close now that I look at it.
Yeah. I mean, there was a point where he was hitting he's at 352 now. So, yeah, I mean, there was a point where after the All-Star break, he was hitting over 400. But not overall average, but just for the month of July.
And according to this last stretch here, I know the hitting streak probably goes more. He's got a hit in his last 5 games. No problem getting on base, consistently multi-hit games, RBIs, doubles, speed for days, premium defense. And I keep in mind that he's only 24.
And the Royals signed him for 11 more years. Could turn to 14.
I think it's going to be safe to say that he is going to retire as a Royal. He's not going anywhere.
I hope not, because we love him here. No, we haven't had, even when we won the World Series in 2015. We didn't. Salvi was the guy, but it was more of but it wasn't a dominant season by him. The last guy that was
sure.
True superstar, like really true superstar caliber that everyone paid attention to. I don't think I even need to say the name, because he gets brought up a lot.
You have some of that, because I'm looking through, back around. You could talk about George Brett and all of that, and yeah, that's the guy that you think of that everyone's going to say. I'm looking at more of the recent side of it. I mean, Alex Gordon was an excellent player. He was a lifelong Royal, correct? You got the World Series there when you guys won it.
Yeah, he was a lifelong Royal, but the big difference is I don't think Alex Gordon I could be wrong, but I don't think Alex Gordon was ever considered for the MVP.
No, you're absolutely correct. I'm trying to think of some other guys that Carlos Beltran, I think, played for the Kansas City Royals way back in the day.
He did. It we look at, Royals fans back then look at the player fondly, but it was just overshadowed by
Okay.
the team was so. Actually, one of the teams that he was on, I mean, it was insane. They never made it to the playoffs because it was actually a decent team that year, and then it just fell apart the next year.
Yeah, because I remember the Tigers are really bad in the 90s and 2000s, and honestly, even though the Tigers they have won in 68 and 84, like way before our time, my time, and all that, but like they've had some bad years. The Royals had some bad years, but then the Royals will build up their prospect pool. Then you go back, you get a couple World Series appearances, you win one. Now you hit a home run there with Bobby Witt, essentially. Build this team up. They look good again. I looked at some of the stuff back then. I'm thinking, who's in the pitching rotation? You had Gil Mesh, and that was a name. Zach Greinke. Zach Greinke was good for a couple years, and then he had to leave baseball for a bit. Then he came back, I think, with the Brewers. Then he was around real good with CC. He was a good pitcher. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, with Bobby Witt, that's the guy. It's either Bobby Witt or Brett is probably the ones you think of.
And even when they won their World Series, I mean, even when they made the World Series, in 2014, you had an ace caliber pitcher in James Shields leading the rotation.
Yes,
but
you're
the
right.
Other guys, you had a very young Yordano Ventura who, if not for his tragic passing, probably would have been, he would have been just an absolute star in this league. But when they won the World Series, truth be told, the best arm or the most polished arm they had was probably Edison Volquez.
I forgot about him. He's one of those guys probably in the edge of rotation you don't think about so much.
And it was crazy because they signed him to a 2-year contract because of his. They signed him to a 2-year contract, kind of revived his career with the Pirates there, and then comes here for 2 years, wins a World Series, then bounces around for a couple more years in the league.
So I am going to hold our conversation just for a minute, not because I'm not enjoying it. I definitely am. We might have a development here. David Robertson, a couple of walks as it brings up Lane Thomas. This gets spiked in the dirt, but the runners stay put with 2 outs. So runners at first and second with a couple outs for Cleveland, and Lane Thomas at the dish.
Oh, and a quick note, the Orioles have them loaded in the bottom of the 8th against the Astros.
That was another one of those ones that we were thinking about looking at for the games that are close. Some of these ones are coming down to the wire today. It's a good Friday night. Lane Thomas, 91 cutter from Robertson. He does get the call. Make it 1-1. Again, we're joining this one from Progressive Field in Progress, bottom 8. Runners at first and second. Naylor is the runner at second. Robertson trying to get out of this. This is a jam shot. Actually got stuck and caught some firewood at the third base line, and Thomas is going to need a new bat. There's a curveball there that kind of broke that bat toward the top part of the bat head on the right side. So we'll go ahead and look at this again. Again, the Guardians 73 and 54. That's tops in the AL Central for now, but you have the Twins and the Royals charging. Guardians have been losing some games of late. They've been playing good teams.
And since acquiring Lane, actually, Guardians fans just tell you this themselves on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Lane Thomas has not he has not been a good acquisition for them so far.
No, and he's got a ton of speed, too. He's got some tools.
Yeah, it's just he's been so bad at the plate.
See what he can do here. Robertson up and sharp with a couple walks. It's 1-2. Here's another big swing. It's a knuckle curve. This will go down the third base line. It's still 1-2 with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Bruce Bochy looks on. Again, this is a big moment in this game that we've joined in progress. David Robertson trying to get out of this. 1-2 pitch for the third time. Thomas inside gets the call. My goodness, that was nowhere near the plate. And Thomas has some words to share with the on-plate umpire.
Let's see how close this was. I'm watching it on MLB. I'm watching the live simulator on MLB.com.
We'll see if they show how close it was. Maybe the framework in behind the plate. But that was definitely inside. And we'll end the eighth. We'll see who the Guardians bring out to try to go ahead and hold it. Would they dare use their closer here at this point? You tell me what you think.
That should have definitely been called the ball. I don't care what the framing was on that. I mean, when you said it was inside, I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's the edge of the zone and it could be. No, not even close.
No, that was a missed call. I wouldn't say Angel Hernandez, but that's not a call you want to make at this point in the game, and the Guardians got a beef.
I would say now that Angel Hernandez is gone,
yeah.
I think we're starting to see that maybe he in fact wasn't. He may have been the worst when he was in the league, but there were others that were just as bad, if not worse.
I wish I could tell you, Ian, again, I'm just pulling this out of thin air now, but I wish I could tell you there was a game last week that the Tigers played, and I forget who it was, but it was one of those games. And we're just talking about like pitches that are, I don't know, 8-9 inches outside the zone, top, bottom, left, right, no consistency. And that's the type of thing that really bothers me because let's just be honest. Let's say we're at the bat rack. If you're going to call the pitch high or to the right consistently, at least I know what your zone is. But when it's all over the place and you call it, what are you supposed to do as a batter?
Yeah, I would recommend, that game that gets me to death because the strike zone was so outrageous. I think it was the Marlins. The Marlins were involved in it. Hang on. It was that game where the balls were getting called strikes but they were so far out of the zone that it was comical.
Yeah, I don't know what you do in those situations, and that was one of the experiences I had like last week. That's what we're talking about. I don't know what you do. I mean, especially here's the worst part. I'm a young player, and I'm making my call up to the big leagues, and I'm just trying to do the right thing to get on base and help my team.
Yeah, and I mean, but the Royals have had that. MJ Melendez for the Royals. I know I'm talking about the Royals, but we're both talking about our own teams.
Sure.
But MJ Melendez had that bat where there was a called strike, and it was over the other batter's box. He's a lefty. The ball was over the right-handed batter's box, and it was called a strike. It wasn't even close.
I don't even know what to say. We're talking about some crazy things. We've had some good conversations. I've enjoyed this. So it was a 5-3 lead for the Houston Astros, and the Orioles, I believe, have just taken the lead at 6-5.
Wait a minute. Did someone? Oh my God! Anthony Santander hits a grand slam for his 38th home run of the season.
I feel like that's somebody that you and I, Ian, haven't talked about today because Santander is having a hell of a year.
Yeah, and it's even better because there was if you remember 2018, the Orioles had hit rock bottom. They had acquired Santander in the Rule 5 draft, and
Wow.
they got lampooned by one urinating tree when he was just talking about their season. And he said, but we can't just bring in the old guys. We need to show we're developing for the future. Let's hype up Anthony Santander and Pedro Araujo as developmental pieces via the Rule 5. And they suck.
And sometimes all of his stuff that he says ages very well because he's a very smart man. And sometimes you got breakout candidates in all sports, and Santander is really one of them.
Yep. I mean, it was. But you know what? Best part about that is, he embraces that as part of his character.
Sure. Yeah. That's the nature of sports. I mean, anyone that talks what they do and being knowledgeable across all the sports as he is, I'd like to think that all of us are as well. We enjoy doing this for a living or having fun with it. But it's really hard.
Oh my. Okay, John, go look on the MLB app or feed or something.
Sure.
And just look at the pitch that Santander hit. Just look at where it was located. Look where he hit it.
I'm going to track this in right now. I'm looking at the play-by-play box because we're watching Guardians and Rangers. Rangers got one more out left in the ninth. I'm going to look to see where Santander's homer is. That one is a four-seam just outside the box, bottom left. It looks like he went through and took it all the way for a home run.
No. It wasn't bottom left.
Let me look again. That looks like okay, I don't think I have it right. This one, okay, I was looking at first pitch. This pitch for a home run is top right corner and crushed at 98, like at the edge of the zone.
Well, it might be edge of the zone for you, but the one I'm looking at is way above the zone.
Okay, so that I guarantee you, for me and from what you're telling me, they don't track that correctly on ESPN because it looks like he might have hit something toward his face. You're saying like real high in?
Not high in, but high above. Like he hit a ball out that was getting called a ball, just straight up. Hang on, let me see if I can hang on. I'll go ahead and get a screenshot and send it to the direct message and post it, and I'll put it in the top of the screen because this is not a ball that you hit.
Yeah, you're going to do that justice for me because this ESPN box isn't doing justice for what you're explaining. So, because
I got the screenshot. I don't exaggerate. You're not going to believe where he hit.
Oh, I know you don't either. So this one is 403 feet that he crushed out on a pitch that he had no business crushing. I can guarantee that. 2-1. Smith shows bunt against Morgan. 2-2. You got a runner at first here for Texas. I think Corey Seager got a single as Guardians trying to at least keep this right where it is on the last bats. I'm going to look and see what Ian had just mentioned to me. See, now this does not, when I look at this on the ESPN side, doesn't show that the pitch is up toward the heart, the chest area. And this guy crushes one 403 feet on a pitch that was going to be called way a ball that had no business swinging on.
Yeah, I mean, good Lord.
Yeah, that is where your screenshot and everything else comes in through perfection. I know that you explained it well. When I looked at it on the ESPN side, it does not even show that close. It still shows it in the zone. So shame on ESPN there. That would be definitely a deceived job. So 2-2. Smith is 2 for 4 today. I think it's Josh D. Smith at the dish. 92 is fouled back. Arizona has continued to pour on the pain. So again, we know that this one's way over at this point. That was the featured game. Looks like they're just going to leave Josh Winkowski out there right now for 2 1/3. We'll get back to that in 1 second. 2-2 pitch, 92, and Smith had a good at bat. 2 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk. As Josh is going to pretty much close this game out. It's an 11-run, 16-hit attack. Now make it 12 as it just updated. Joe Mantiply will probably finish out the game here as Smith still will stay alive. So in the ninth of the featured game, Perdomo doubled to right. Suarez scored. Guillorme to third. Carroll sacrificed fly to left. McCarthy ground out, scored Perdomo. 12-2 Snakes. Once this game is done here on this side for Cleveland and Texas, I will sign out for the rest of the night and get the story uploaded. Again, the story will probably be short as far as what we got between the Diamondbacks and the Red Sox, but that was the featured game. We did move from it because we're going to see what the final 3 outs are for the Guardians.
Yeah, the Snakes, they may not even have to put in Mantiply. They could probably put in
Position player?
One of their more volatile relievers.
Yeah.
And then say, okay, you have a 10-run lead. You have a 10-run lead. Get me 3 outs.
I don't want to say this as like a stupid acquisition or anything else, but you are bringing in Walker and Moreno and Marte. Do you worry that the Diamondbacks are in such a run right now that bringing in those guys will mess up the lineup? Because obviously the answer is no. You want to have the talent and bring that in, but I mean, they're just playing really well right now.
They are, but then again, this is Ketel Marte, Gabriel Moreno, and
Christian Walker.
This is not one of those, we're going to bring these guys in because they were good at the beginning of the season and, they provided some fire bursts. No. These are arguably your 3 franchise cornerstones.
Yeah.
Or if you want to count Corbin Carroll, I don't think he's there just yet because he's still But, these 3 guys are the cornerstones of your franchise. I don't think there's any way that they could screw up the chemistry that these guys have.
I agree with you. I just wanted to throw that out there just in case anyone thinks about it, because sometimes you do ask the questions, but no, they're mainstays, they're linchpins, they're not call-ups. You know what they're going to be. Boy, oh boy, Josh Winkowski's line for Red Sox, not good today. 3 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs. So we'll see what we get in the last 3 outs here, Ian, and then I will sign out for the day. I will see everybody on Sunday once this is done. But these are 3 big outs, and Guardians are only down by 2. Royals need to make sure they win their game, and the Guardians lose. And Texas is going to rely on Kirby Yates.
Kirby, should be told, I understand the Rangers were close, but imagine the haul they could have got if they had traded Kirby Yates this year. I mean, he is absolutely just had he's put on a hell of a season.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think considering where Texas was, I know what you meant about them being close, but honestly, how close are you really? Because from what we just talked about, kind of seemed like the Astros, you knew they weren't going to stay in the basement forever. They're not as good as them. If I'm Texas, I continue to build on the core I already have and get prospects.
Yep. And by the way, Paul DeYoung has another RBI to his belt, and you can add that on top of him hitting. He has 2 hits, 1 RBI tonight, and and he's hitting for strictly a platoon bat and a pull hitter and a guy who doesn't walk at all. He's hitting 238 in the 8 hole for the Royals.
Yeah. He's done very well considering everything across the board. They got a 7 spot against the Phillies right now. Pitch up toward the face for Yates, and Naylor punches right through. 2 more outs to get for the Rangers before they can take this thing. And Taijuan Walker, to your point for the Phillies today, just 3 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs, 2 strikeouts. His ERA balloons to 6.26. So Brian Roquillo going to get close to the last hope here. That was a pretty good pitch for Kirby, but he does not get the call on a splitter. Make it 1-0. A progressive field right now, trying to see what the Guardians can do as we looked at this in progress. Again, the featured game, that got way out of hand as Arizona's up 12-2. That could have been a game I said was going to score a lot of runs. I didn't expect that one-sided. 14 runs scored all told, and Arizona finishing out a 12-2 victory right now. That's what it is, 1 out left. 2-0 here for Yates. 93 on a 4-seam, and Roquillo's late. Make it 2-1. Minnesota is also losing to St. Louis 3-1 in the 6th. That would really be good news for the Royals if both of the teams that they're chasing both lose tonight.
Oh yeah, because right now the Royals are tied record. I mean, they have the same record as the Twins right now. Actually, they somehow, I believe this is all off of run differential. They hold the division lead over the Twins right now.
Full count pitch for Roquillo. Here's a chop shot right to Seager. Gets the toss over, and the Guardians down to their last out. It'll be Stephen Kwan, the last hope. Again, he's a guy that hits about 307 this year. He's 0 for 4. That probably means somebody like him is due. Should he reach, it'll be someone I'm not familiar with. Daniel Shinneman would be up next. He's the 27-year-old prospect.
Yeah, I'm familiar. I'm familiar with him as a Royals fan. We've seen his work.
So Ian will be able to update me with that should they reach. Again, I try to follow baseball as much as I can, but there's been some changes and some things. As 1-1 against Kwan. Yates trying to close this one up for the Rangers. A fastball high. That's where he's featuring most of the stuff right now against Stephen Kwan. Now they're on to their final strike, 1-2. Stephen Kwan waiting on the 1-2 as the pitch clock down to 5. You got Seager in the camera distance here. This is inside. Not going to get the call. That one was bunched him up. Make it 2-2.
Sorry, I need to correct you real quick. If Kwan reaches, it will actually not be Schneemann that comes up. It will be Tyler Freeman. They pinch hit him for Schneemann in one of the earlier innings.
Thank you. Again, that's why I have you on here. I pull up the box. I was just trying to follow along here as we did this one in progress. So Tyler Freeman, he's at the bat rack. It's a full count. What's Quan going to do here? He will stay alive at 93. No four seam. Again, it's been a steady diet of fastballs right now. Quan just try to cue that one. We're able to get to see one more pitch at least. Waiting on the full count. Here from Kirby as he gets his sign. And this one is popped up toward first base. And no problem making the catch. The Texas Rangers, Nathaniel Lowe's got it in his glove. And it's a 5-3 win for the Rangers. So that is good news for KC. And it looks like my game has also gone final as well. So good timing here, Ian. I appreciate you joining me here for this one. We kind of took some looks in progress. We had some good chats. And I hope you have a good night, sir. I'm going to get used to typing up some stuff and getting a bite to eat before I settle in.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
Yeah, you take care, okay? So we took some looks in progress. The featured game got out of hand. It was the Diamondbacks with a flurry of runs, and they sprayed it all across the field. That was 12-2 final. That's what we'll get the write-up on. It's not going to be a huge story, but I will see you Sunday for Astros and O's.